Hello, everybody. Hi, Stephanie. Stephanie's like, I'm here. Stephanie, we saw you in the house, what, about 5 minutes ago? About 3, 4 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we saw you here, girl. Thank you for coming. I think Stephanie said she ordered the book. She has the book, but it's in her garage, and so she recently moved. So she could not find the book in the garage or wherever it was.
Oh,
So she had ordered the book again. So she is on it. She's like, I'm with y'all now.
listen, it's good.
Oh my goodness. This book right here had me. I have one of um my friends, and he actually he's an ex, but I asked him. She said, I got you, girl. Thank you, girl. And I always I like ask him like questions that's in the book or
Mhm,
things like that,
mhm.
because he's dated, and so I'm like, maybe you're dating the wrong kind of girl, the wrong kind of lady. I'm like, are you masculine? Are you feminine? But you
Yeah.
know what? But he is very much a masculine man, and so this chapter, what, 6, I think.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, it described him to a T. And I was like, you are like the man's man. You are like the take charge, let me lead you type guy.
Mhm.
And so yeah, we have had that like conversation. It was funny to get his perspective. I was like, why don't you come on here? He was like, y'all not ready for me.
We already actually, you see how I wrangled my brothers into this.
Oh my
We need some
goodness.
masculine perspectives. I told you that one of my mentors, I wanted him or maybe his wife. I'll ask his wife maybe, but I was thinking him, to bring like a masculine approach, and he was like, "Nah, they're gonna try to crucify me." I was like,
And I think that's what he think. He was like, they not ready for me. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess when it could be intimidating when you're like on a panel, and probably the whole fact about being online, he's probably just not comfortable with. But I guess he thought that maybe he would get attacked by the women, or we would just ask him a lot of questions about how men think. Because I'm like,
oh, so he thinks that we're trying to get him to spill all the secrets.
oh, girl, I was
We
just like,
are.
yes, because we need to. I'm like, they need to know.
Because I
But
was listening to something recently that was talking about that. They said that guys are so quick to put each other on game, but women
yeah,
aren't.
women aren't. Isn't that something?
Why?
I think that women are too busy being competitive,
And
and
it's
not.
because you think that it's like men that would be more competitive.
Yes, you would think so. Stephanie said that described her husband and her son, masculine, like let me take care of you type men, and I think that's what we like,
For sure. I think
for sure.
I said for sure. So I didn't realize until this week. Quick side note. So I haven't been posting as much as I was telling Miss Juani just before I hopped on. I took on a new contract position and I'm kind of on call. And so it was hilarious because I didn't realize how often I say for sure until the guy pointed it out. He was like, I'm gonna start calling you Melissa for sure, Lawrence. I
Oh my goodness.
did not realize how often I said it. But yeah, so ultimately, I think it's just one of those things where honestly, I forgot what I was saying before this. I'm gonna be honest.
You're too young to be doing that. You can't. Only we are allowed to do that. You can't lose your train of thought.
Listen, uh, I think I looked at these questions and I was like, oh, this is about to be so good that my mind just kind of froze. I kind of went squirrel.
Oh my goodness. So Stephanie said, "I wish women would stop the mess and work together." Girl,
Yes, listen, we
yes,
would take over. We would take
yes,
over.
yes.
I was actually you know what? I think it's because we've been programmed by society to view each other as competition. When at the end of the day, no one's your competition besides your version of yourself yesterday.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I totally agree. So I want to thank you all. We have 8 people and 8 people here in the house. Thank you for coming to today's book club as we are on chapter 7 of Getting to I Do. And before we get started, I would like for us to introduce ourselves. So Melissa, you want to go ahead, go first?
Hello there. So, my name is Melissa Ingrid Lawrence, and I am a YouTube influencer in the small stages right now, but like everything else, it's only going to get bigger from here. My hair, everything else, you know what I'm saying? My channel is it's not Oliver.
Girl, Oliver sees the kids outside. I'm gonna put it on mute. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a lifestyle channel where I am on a journey to freedom mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, and emotionally. And a lot of what I will be posting there is documenting my journey there. And the content on my channel will be surrounded around what I like to call the 7 F's of freedom. So, faith, family, finances, future, fashion, fitness, and fun. And those are the things that I am excited about sharing with you guys. And as I master or on my way towards mastery of these different aspects of freedom, I'll be sharing the resources there as well as the things that I've learned so that hopefully we can get to freedom together.
All right, then. And so, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Juani, and my channel is Juani's House. In my channel, I do a little bit of everything. I am a lifestyle influencer. I show home entertaining, home decorating. The girl likes to have a party. She loves throwing a party. And and I also like enlightening and inspiring women. That is my total. I think that's one of my gifts. Whether I'm inspiring you, and you are 50 and fabulous, you like to entertain. You like to live in your home. You want to live in your home, and you want to do it practically. I am your girl, and I also am doing this book club with Melissa. She actually came to me about doing the book club because she really liked the dynamic of myself and Mr. B. And she is a young, I keep wanting to call her a millennial because Pooter is a millennial, but she is a, what are you
I'm Gen Z. The
again?
cutoff is 90. I think the cutoff for millennials is 95, and I was born in 96. So
Okay, so she's Gen Z. I want to say millennial. So it's Juani and the space people. And so because I'm Generation X. So yeah, so and so just and giving Melissa my perspective on dating. Now, the book that we are reading was written in the 80s, but a lot of the principles are principles that really can be used today and that are probably and were probably some of the principles that I used when I was dating. So that when Mr. B and I were dating, that was like we'll be married with 20 years next year. We've been together 23 years. So 23 years ago, the game has changed a little bit. But I think this is great because there are some things that are practical that we used back then that definitely can be used in today with young people and dating and those who want to find a spouse. Okay, so we have a couple of more people here in the house. We have V's Interior Design and Lifestyle. Hey, girl.
hey, mom.
Hello. And we have Sweet Life of Queen. Hello, lady. Thank you. That's my new sister right there. If
Aw.
you are here on the channel, go and check out Sweet Life of Queens um, channel. Also, go and check out my girl V's Interior Design and Lifestyle. And y'all know the one who always is showing up. I don't care what it is. Stephanie over at Creatively Miss Me. Make sure you go and check them out and subscribe to their channel. We have Andrea Newell here. Hey, beautiful lady. She says, hi, beautiful people. Hi.
Yeah.
That's wonderful to be together for that long. Girl, it's a process. It's not easy, but I wouldn't change it today.
And I feel like
Tomorrow?
something that was extremely inspiring to me is that not only because, okay, so as a person, I'm somebody that in any area I want to be great in, I look for people who already are doing it well. And for me, it wasn't just how long Miss Wani and Mr. B have been together, it's the fact that they still like each other. And so I was like, if I'm gonna learn, listen, you better stop before he hop on his YouTube and be like a little bit. So I was so that in my mind, if I was gonna bounce questions off of anybody,
Yes. So she chose me, but I want to be honest, and I say this all the time. You know, sometimes when you're outside and you're looking in, you see the rose-colored glasses, but you don't see what people have gotten have navigated through for it to be that way. So all the time, it's not beautiful. So I want to make sure, I say that to everybody. So I make sure I make that clear to Millie. I make sure I make that clear to you guys on my channel because you guys have heard me say it all the time. I don't like Mr. B. I love him to death. Plus, but all the time, that one right there, he can be a bit much. He can be a bit much. So it's day to day. So it's like right here, right there. Yesterday, oh man, it was like this. Yeah, it was like this yesterday. So, but like I stated, it is a process. It is a process. So you want to go ahead and want to get started?
yes, 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 yes.
All
So
right. So first off, if you guys would first give this video a thumbs up,
yes,
and if you have gotten the book, put like a heart in the chat. If you got the book, put a heart in the chat. And if you kind of was we're at chapter number 7.
yes,
And this right here, like
yes,
I was stating to Millie earlier, some of you guys may have missed it. I have one of my he was my old boyfriend back in the day, and every now and then we check up on each other, and I pose these questions, some of the questions to him, because it seemed like this chapter was like him totally. And he is in the dating scene now. So can you imagine someone who is Generation X, our generation, trying to date and navigate this now when the whole dating scene is different? And then you have Melissa's generation trying to navigate this scene. And I'm like, and both of the two people are having like different experiences in the same dating scene.
yes.
Incredible.
I had somebody tell me recently that God forbid their marriage didn't work out, that they just be single. They're not doing it. They said
Exactly.
they're not with this modern day dating situation. They said this thing better last till the brakes fall off. Because I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh. I say that to Mr. B all the time. I'm like, I wouldn't know I don't know how to act. Because when we dated, we met people. We were real social, so we would like go to the club. You might meet somebody at a restaurant. Different place. You could meet somebody at church. It was just different. Now, when you go to the club, men on one side, women on the other side. You have the whole dance floor in the middle. If you lucky to come with somebody at the club, then yeah, those are the ones who out there dancing. But all the single people are on the side of the wall. And then you guys, y'all don't talk to each other.
yeah,
Everybody texting. Everybody, and then you meet everybody online.
Yes. Yeah.
So so
I'm,
different.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel as if it's very intentional. I feel like the social media and the marketing and everything, they want men and women at each other's throats like this because they've created this narrative that we're in competition with each other. We'll never be in competition with each other because there's different strengths that we have that are completely different, but they're complementary. And at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, if you focus so much on the differences, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, I'm not going to challenge any of my brothers to an arm wrestling competition because they're going to win.
No, we're not gonna do
My
that.
noodles aren't really built for that. I work out, but my noodles aren't really built for that. So it's just about
Exactly.
so it's just at the end of the day, I feel like it is intentional to try to break down the household. And I'm gonna say this, it may sound a bit controversial, but I feel like it might be specifically targeted towards the Black community as well, because they understand the strength that comes from the family
Mm-hmm.
unit. And
Mm-hmm.
so sowing seeds of discord is the way that they keep us separate
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that we can't really build the empires that we have in our hearts to actually build. So yeah.
I totally agree with that. Vandessa J is in the house. She's another influencer. And but Vandessa comes to start trouble. You know how I know that? Because look at her next comment. I'm never get married again. Oh my! But you know what? I said the same thing. If something ever were to happen, I don't think I would get married again. I don't.
I mean,
It's
you think you would last that long on the market, Miss Juani?
hmm.
You think you would last that long on the market?
Or you think somebody gonna try to swoop me up?
Come on now.
Oh my goodness!
As soon as I hopped on, I was looking at the dress, the hair, everything. You was talking about me. I was looking at you.
Oh my goodness! You know what? I don't know because where I'm gonna meet them at? They don't approach you now. What I'm gonna have to go on the computer. Mm-mm.
First of all, you said that you was turning all the heads today. People was like this when you was walking
Oh well,
by.
yeah, they were, but none of them said it. Well, they just said, "Oh, you look really pretty," or
They have
whatever.
respect for you and Mr. B. I admire them.
You are so funny. Let's get to the book club.
So, last week, chapter 6 was talking about what a masculine energy man would require of a feminine energy woman. That at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, everyone can say, I'm a very feminine woman. I want a masculine man to come in and do everything that he does, but there's certain things that he requires in order for you to be able to operate in that dynamic. And
Mm-hmm.
so, chapter 7 is the reverse. It's now saying what a masculine energy woman what they should expect from dating a feminine energy man.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
the first question is this. This author states, so you like career, money, power, and prestige, and you also want a man. Your alternative style will work for you as long as you decide to be the dynamic masculine giving energy in the relationship and choose a receptive feminine energy man who is willing to bring you his love and sensual skills to make life fun for you both. Masculine energy likes to make money and will power and prestige. Feminine energy likes to make love, build families, and play. A masculine energy woman is generous and will make certain to the best of her ability that her man is always comfortable and not humiliated over the issue of money. He may not feel comfortable with you paying the bill at the restaurant. He may ask that you support his manhood by allowing him his discretionary funds for entertainment and for gifts. He can accept your going out of town on business. Remember, even if he has his own job and career, he supports yours as the main one. If you need to move, he goes happily and not competitively, and he laughs off the ridicule that macho men types throw at him. So that was the little blurb that I thought would give people a bit of an understanding whether or not they read the book of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first question is, what do you think about what she said?
Oh my goodness. So when I read this part here, I that is what like really made me think of my friend I was talking about.
Mhm.
And so um some people I think just exude like masculinity, and but I'm like, okay, but is that inherited? Is that because it is stereotypically what you expect a masculine man to be, or is that really him? But
Mm,
then I have seen on the other hand how she labels someone who's feminine, has feminine energy, and I know that I would be a little, I would run over the feminine energy male, but not that I'm masculine. And I think I would be, well, I don't think, I know I would get become resentful because I would feel like I would be forced to take on the masculine role when I don't necessarily want to.
I completely get that. I
Mm-hmm.
completely get that. I know in a lot of my dating past, I was very surprised about this, but I attract a lot of feminine men. Or I attracted a lot of feminine men in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized it was because how do I say this? Because of because okay, so I'll say it like this. I've naturally been chosen for a lot of leadership positions.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of the spaces that I've been, people naturally defer to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so the type of guys that felt more comfortable in that presence were feminine men because they wanted somebody to be able to lead them.
Mm.
So what I recognize is although I have a natural aptitude for leadership and things like that, it doesn't mean I have to tone that down, but it's about recognizing which energy is most needed in a moment and in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's funny, one thing that she says in this book is that everyone's masculine at work. So if I'm in a situation where, I'm expected
Mm-hmm.
to perform, of course, I'm not going to pretend like I can't do it. I'm not going to be out here like this,
Exactly.
but if I'm in a situation where where I don't want to give that off, essentially it's like a switch, turn it on and off when you feel like it.
Exactly.
Also, not giving a man around me an option not to lead. Now, it doesn't mean I'm gonna sit there and just let the lights get turned off, but making sure that if I'm gonna allow him to be a candidate, he has to have a proven ability to be able to lead.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you were saying before, I don't want to have to think all the time. I'm gonna be honest.
Yes.
I don't want
It,
to have to think all the time.
it's exhausting.
If somebody breaks in the house, I don't want us both looking at each other in bed. That's not about to work.
Yes. Yes. And that example right there, I was like, oh my goodness. And you know what? Because and it what made me think about that was I always hear something in the house, always. And I wake up there like, Derek, you hear that? Nah, Luana, hear that. No, listen. Listen. And I'm like, go and see. Or if Oliver, y'all know Oliver barks all the time anyway.
Yes.
But if he bark and bark and bark, I'm like, go see what that is. And
Yes.
he's like, but Derek has a false sense of security sometimes because he always like, we're in the suburbs. Ain't nobody coming back here. Nobody knows us about back here. You don't know somebody gonna stumble upon us back here. The dude. So
Especially, yeah, for sure. That makes
yes.
that makes a lot of sense. Something similar happened last night. So I was about to go to bed. My brother was in the bathroom. And so I'm there, I'm getting ready to bed. I'm just like this. And I hear some sounds. I'm like, Edgar. He's like, what? I was like, Edgar, I think somebody's here. This man was using the bathroom. I hear the toilet flush. He go downstairs. I'm like, I got a stick in here if you need it. He's
Oh my goodness.
like, oh no. He also asked me, he said, would you lose respect for a man if you heard a sound in the house and he called the police? I was like, no, I mean, the police got to come eventually. It makes sense to call him. But he was like, no, he in bed sitting with you calling the police while y'all wait on the police. I'm like, now you better get down there and figure
No,
something
you
out.
better go down there. You need to go act like you're gonna do something.
Figure something out.
That's right. That's right.
Um, so the next question is, based on the description above, do you think that you are more comfortable with the feminine energy role or the masculine energy role? And we talked about this a little bit in the previous one,
Mm-hmm.
but I know the reason why that second question came to mind for me was because in the description of the feminine energy woman, she essentially abdicates a lot of her independence. So
Yes.
his career comes first.
Yes.
He has a lot of the agency when it comes to that. It's kind of, I hate to be like this. It felt like whatever you like.
Yes, and that's how I felt. It was almost like she loses her identity. She loses her self, and that's how they get along, because she almost loses her opinions, or rights to have an opinion. So it's whatever, almost whatever he decides is best for them.
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. And then I had a conversation. And the man that I was speaking to was saying, well, that's your fault if you chose wrong. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, would you choose somebody who isn't going in the same direction that you are, who doesn't have the ultimate end goal that you have?
Mm-hmm.
All you're doing in that situation as the feminine energy woman, because you've already done all the thinking on the front end before you chose this person. So the decisions that he's going to be making are still taking you in the direction that you want to go. You're just not in control of the route. And when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't want to be in charge of every single decision every single day for how every single thing goes. But if you chose the man right, he's also going to consult you, and he's also going to get your opinion on how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what she said in the previous chapter was that although you're not making the decisions because you're not the quote unquote CEO, you're still in the vice president position where you have absolute veto power. So if you don't like how things are going, I don't like it. And if you chose the right man, he'll respect your feelings enough to adjust the plan to something that you feel more comfortable with, because he wants you to be happy.
Right.
So it's interesting because I realized that depending on the way that you've been taught to think about femininity.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You get what I'm saying? Like, it's been planted in there that, you got to be home barefoot and pregnant. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if you chose the right person, he's not going to want you. Of course, his career comes first, because if and when you get pregnant, you're not going to want to have to worry about how to pay bills when you're trying to, build a person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's a benefit to that, because his career is the primary career. He's responsible when you want to take 9 months off.
Yes.
So I feel like it works out, especially, but you have to know what it is that you want and desire in an individual for this to make sense. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. And then it had me, thinking, so in a relationship, could I be with a feminine type man, the feminine? And I'm like, I can't.
I know for me, I cringed a little bit when it said when it was like allowing him his discretionary funds for entertainment and gifts.
That part right there. I was like,
that's an allowance?
That's what. Yes.
So him and the kids gonna get allowances?
So I'm like, and then I'm like, and then he get to go on trips and everything, and just be.
And then especially this part of the reason why I put as much of the text in there is because I couldn't have synthesized this and made this up myself.
Exactly.
So, she was saying, he may not be comfortable with you paying the bill at the restaurant, but I'm like, if I'm giving him his discretionary funds, I'm still paying the bill.
Yes, but yeah, you are still paying the bill.
Like that's like mothers giving their kids money to buy their Mother's Day present. You bought your own present.
But if he saved his allowance for when you guys go out, then he can pay for it, even though it's his money, your money. But he can save it, so it appears that he's. But even with that thought, he had to have thought and foresight to even plan to do that. So on one hand, I would probably cringe at it, but on the other hand, if he were like saving the money, put it aside, and he thought enough to want to do something for me or whatever, or take me out with the money, with his money like that, I would think that was cute, because that means he still was thinking of me.
For sure. I feel like I completely agree with that. And this is in no way coming at somebody who chooses this type of lifestyle. Because at the end of the day, if it works for you and if it floats your boat, let it float safely and happily and merrily and let that thing slide down the sea. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I just know for myself that that's not something that I would want.
Yes, I don't think that was something that I want. So we got, you guys know, Vandessa comes up here and come on here every week, and we love her. But Vandessa is she gonna tell you if whenever she gets the chance, she gonna get rid of her dude. He is out of here. He is out of here. So
Oh.
I'm just like, she never wants to come up. Vandessa, why don't you come up and talk to us about how does this relate to, how do you and your situation relate to this? Now you say your husband is not. Oh, never mind. You said he's a whole woman. I can't. I just. Oh my goodness.
I mean, I would love to hear the beautiful voice behind all the witty comments.
I know. I know. Let's see. I can't be. So Stephanie says, I can't be with the feminine man. I would run all over him. My family told me I need to marry someone stronger than me in order for me to listen. Wow.
Hmm.
Um,
Because according to the last chapter, a masculine energy man is not going to want to have to subdue you. He's going to
mm-hmm.
want you to, but you know what? At the end of the day, as I said, this is a book and it's a reference guide. So if it's working, it's working.
Yes. Um, oh, she said September 1st. Yes, ma'am. Oh, so she gonna be out of there.
Hey,
She already has an escape date.
you know when people get married, they have set the date.
Yeah,
She got to set the date.
she has a date. She has an escape date. So Les 64 says, I think it's also understanding your strength. My girlfriend. That's
Yeah, Layla?
Leela.
Yes.
Auntie Leela. We missed her last weekend.
For
We missed her
real.
last week.
For real. It's good to see you though.
Yes, my guy friend was a man's man, but my GM, what's GM?
Grandfather. My grandfather was a
My
man,
grandfather. Okay.
but my grandmother was great with money. So he willingly gave her his checks and she handled their finances. But guess what? I feel like that's the smart decision on the behalf of the masculine man, because
Yes.
somebody who is a really good leader, something that I've come to learn is that really good leaders don't have to be good at every single thing. They're really good at
Exactly.
They're really good at
Exactly.
delegating. So if at the end of the day, you know, you're really good at building this house, you know, I could build a house. I just can't design it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where
When
competition doesn't have to come in. It's complementary.
right. And I agree with that because once again, my my friend who I was telling you about, he is like that. All the relationships that he has been in,
Mm-hmm.
he has been, well, the serious ones.
Mm-hmm.
He has been the one. He would give the woman his check. He would and he would take like a little bit of his check, and that was for him for the week. But he gave the check. He said because that's what his dad did with his mom. That's what he saw, and she took care of the household. And so, but but he was burnt once because the person did not do what they were supposed to do, and so he is like, I don't know, how I'm supposed to do this, but he's also one he's a protector. He's a provider. He just has like that real masculine, I'm going to take care of you type energy,
You should go
right?
to school and teach some of these people.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
There's a
Send,
fly in here.
oh, Vandessa said she wants to send a link. Let's see if she's going to come on.
The infamous Miss Vandessa.
Miss Vandessa, she must be presentable because the other time she won't come on. There's the link, Vandessa. Welcome, Leela. Love you, sis. Mine won't even put gas in my car. No.
I went to sleep.
Leela says, love you more. You said what?
I went to sleep.
I know, huh? I know. Vanessa talking about wig is off. That's okay. You don't have to be on the screen.
Oh no! Wait, she put on the wig.
Oh, wig is on. I think you said wig is off. Okay, come on, girl.
I've heard people say mask on, mask off. I've never heard somebody
Okay.
say put on. Let's go.
Yes. So,
Ooh, she's in time for the next question.
oh,
I'll ask.
here she comes. Hey,
Hello.
Hi, people.
how are you doing today?
It's so good to hear the voice behind the witty comments.
Hey, hey.
It's so good to hear the voice behind the witty comments.
Wait a minute. Turn your
One. Okay, first of all, y'all, let me tell you. One has already met my husband years ago.
wait, turn your volume down. Because we hear the echo.
Oh,
Is it? Oh, wait a minute. Let me put it on mute.
oh no! Don't put yourself on mute. Just turn off the volume on your device.
Yes. Stephanie said turn off the YouTube. Keep the stream yard
My
up.
laptop is the voice sound is off my laptop.
Oh, you know what you should do? What Stephanie said is right.
Oh, that's right. There it
Yes.
is. There it is.
Okay.
What Stephanie said is right.
Oh, that's right. There it is. There it is. Okay, so now, y'all, Juani has met my husband. What, Juani, 3-4 years ago?
Uh-huh.
He is something. I'm not going to say nothing about that man that is not true. That I'm just going to tell you the honest truth. This man won't put gas in my car. He will not clean up behind himself. I am like Molly the maid when it comes down to him.
Not Molly the maid. Can
I
I
know.
interrupt very quickly? Do you have any other devices playing what's going on right now? Very quickly. Do you have any other devices playing what's going on right now?
No, you know what? I know what it is. It's the TV.
Oh, okay. Are we on a big screen this morning?
Let me cut it off.
We on a big screen.
We made it to the big screen. Because
I'm
we
sorry.
still
There
hear
it
the
is.
echo.
I cut the TV off.
Okay.
No, okay.
That's good.
Yes,
It was
good.
the TV. I had the TV still going.
Okay.
But wanted now I can't hear y'all.
You can't hear us?
Are you on StreamYard? Oh,
Are you on
I
StreamYard?
can't even hear
hear
you
us.
all.
Did you put us on mute?
All right.
Okay.
Everybody.
The TV was on and my phone was running. I told you, whenever somebody on live and I know I watch it, I put all the devices on.
You said you got 3 views. When I
Everybody
stream.
accounts.
You said I got 3 views whenever I stream.
But I tell anybody, Step, you blessed that meet somebody offline. I did not go online to date nobody. An ex-friend of mine said, hey, you work, you take care of your kids. You and your kids are always together. Y'all travel and everything all together. Girl, it is time for a man in your life. I was like, I don't want nobody. I'm good. She set me up, went through my Facebook account, got my pictures, went and put it on Plenty of Fish. It is
and
really
you got
plenty
caught.
of fish out there.
She got caught.
The first guy she went through, I was supposed to meet him at Applebee's. He's going to describe, I would be standing right by the door. Told him what car I was going to be driving. I decided to drive our other car. Pull up. This man is on a bicycle with dreadlocks to his butt. I didn't say nothing. He did not know what car I was driving. I just pulled straight off and put him on block.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
a week later, my girlfriend said, oh, girl, this one is a police officer. I said, they do crimes too. What are you talking about? So she had already been talking backward and forth to him. She said, oh, no, I think he a winner. She said, oh, he light skinned too. She said, you know, you like a real light skin. Him me like a dummy. Well, let me go ahead and just go. I went through and I found out, okay, is legit. He really is a detective, all this whole 9 yards. So I said, okay, I'll talk to him. Message him. We messaged back on the forth for like 2 weeks. Then he said, you know what? You can block your number and just call me. I want to talk to you. Now I was like, okay. That was the dumbest decision I made. For the last 6.5 years, I've been the biggest fool ever.
Oh my
And then I
goodness.
was even dumber August the 18th of 2018. Only reason why I married this man, my kids know it, my daddy know it, my sister know it, my best friends know it, and Juani know it because I done told Juani.
Yeah.
The only reason why I married this man because I was like, I can hear my grandmama saying, you don't stay in no house with no man and shack up.
Mhm.
On the other side, kind of found out his mommy and daddy are pastors. So I was like, oh no. My mama come from her grave and snatch me. So I decided to go ahead. I didn't have no wedding. We got married right here in the same house. And when they took pictures in our subdivision garden, that was it. That same night, that man went to work.
Mm.
We have never been on a honeymoon and want to know some other things that ain't never happened between us. Just ask what my divorce attorney said. Ma'am, you've never been married. It's just on legal South Carolina papers. We have never consummated the marriage, no nothing. So I'm just waiting for September the 1st. I'm just waiting for my baby to graduate from college coming up, and I'm out. I'm done.
For the record, this isn't tea. This is water.
She's like sipping. Sip. So, but with your husband, and you, since I've met your husband, how would you now? Okay, in the feed because you funny. Vandessa is funny, y'all. Yeah, if you guys know, she is hilariously funny, and she always has something to say, especially when it comes to being married. So
I hate it.
and she has said that from the beginning, from when I met her. So with that being said, okay, I have several questions. First question: was marriage what you thought it was gonna be?
Absolutely no. And I never want to be married.
But,
And with this, I see why.
but wait,
How about first
but,
question?
but
What did you think marriage was going to be?
yes.
I thought marriage would be, I'm going to describe to you what I grew up with my mom and daddy married. My daddy opened up doors for my mama. My mama never even pumped gas for herself. My daddy made sure on every Sunday after church we done ate dinner, we will ride on countryside on Sunday afternoon. My daddy would go back and wash my mama car and fill her car up for the whole week. My mama, if my dad was in the house and my mama was getting ready to go somewhere, my dad would literally walk out, open up the door for her, walk around and walk all the way out to the car garage, open up the door. My mama got in, and once she got in settled, my dad would close the door and just walk on and go back in the house. I was raised that kind of way. So looking at my mom and daddy, 33 years of marriage, that's how I took what a marriage supposed to be until my mom and daddy separated. And when my mom and daddy separated, I said, I don't ever want to be married. And I lived at 3 kids and I lived the same thing. I never wanted to be married.
Ooh,
So
there's so much there.
I know. Because even with that, okay, so okay, let's go to the beginning. So okay, because it's all over the place. So
much.
you did not. Okay, let's go to the part that you never wanted to be married. You never wanted to be married, but you got married, right? But even when you decided to get married, you married somebody who was totally opposite from what you saw your dad to be, right?
Yeah.
But
Hold up. No. Wait a minute, Juani. You
what?
know how they said, my grandmama used to say, whatever you do to get that woman, it's the same thing you got to do to keep that woman.
And vice
So
versa.
he used to open up doors for me. We used to go out to fine dining. Me and him go in a restaurant. The bill used to be $200. He would pay it. Now I don't even eat McDonald's, and he won't even buy me a burger from McDonald's.
That's not the Applebee's dude, right?
No, that's not the Applebee's dude.
No,
Okay.
this is a whole different person.
This is a policeman.
Okay. Oh, the policeman. Yes.
That need to be locked up.
Yeah.
But that's not a bullet.
But I mean, I just grew up and I've never met my dad's dad, but so many people told me how my granddaddy used to treat my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother never worked a day in her life. This man had my grandmama set when he died, when my grandma was 9, my dad was 9 years old. My grandmother was set for the rest of her life until she died in 88. My grandma was set. Nothing she didn't have to. My grandmama didn't even get Social Security because my granddad had her set for life. Mm-hmm. So it's like the background that I knew and grew up in. This man, we were talking on the phone, and I said, I'm OCD. I don't like nothing out of place. I love a very clean home. Oh, yes. I don't like a nasty house. I can't do it. I can't fuck. I move out the bedroom in September. Y'all, if I take this laptop and go and show y'all that bedroom, y'all think it's the whole landfill. You can't walk in there. As many times I have done decorated to my bedroom and put it online and stuff on my YouTube channel, I can say it's the land dump. Because literally, I don't see how somebody mentally, like how the hoarders, I don't get it. It's always a mental issue. Mm-hmm. And with him, it's mental. But what all past, I've been telling Juani, I'm ready for a divorce. I'm out of here. But what took the last feather off my back was my sister had COVID when COVID first came out. My sister had COVID. My dad and I on the phone. We are discussing about what's going on with my sister, the next steps, what she got to go through. I'm in my office and this man gonna come try to sit his 400 pounds on me. And I'm like, leave me alone. I'm talking to my dad. He kept on going and kept nigging and nagging at me. He said, I could do whatever I want to you. You my wife. Excuse you? I got a whole attitude. It's a whole nother person. See, I'm Vanessa sometimes, but see, Vanessa, you don't mess with Vanessa because she crazy.
Oh, goodness. Oh, no.
And Vanessa had her braids going back on her head, and Vanessa got up from that computer and put her daddy on hold, went in the room, said what I had to say to him, went back and called my daddy, got off the phone, went and took a shower. And I have always said, and it's the law, with him, a police officer, no. When somebody said, don't touch you, that's the law. I got in the bed and my nails was longer than this, touch him in his face and his chest. Warner, my husband is white as a white man. This man here is going to jump out the bed. Oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. He grabbed his coat. And I was like, good. He headed back to his mom and dad in South Carolina. Bye. About 15 minutes later, I hear somebody yelling from downstairs. This man called the police on me, said that I beat and scratched all over him. When this man ain't had not a thing on him, I lost total respect for anything had to do with him. How I feel, and I put it out there, I don't care who hear me. If I get a knock on my door right now and say that he got killed on the job, in the morning, I be in South Carolina. This is my bank account, and I'm letting you know where my money need to be deposited every month. I don't care. So that's when I say I never ever want to be married again. And Juani and I done had many, many talks. I don't ever want to be married again. I don't care if this man dripping gold off of him.
Oh my!
I ain't changed my last name. I have never even changed my last name. My last name is my maiden name on my driver's license, the one I originally had, Social Security, never changed my last name. My cousin said, you already knew that wasn't gonna be your husband, because other than that, a real woman that want to be married, she gonna change that. I said, no, I don't have to change it because if he come up dead, I'm gonna get Social Security anyway.
So V wants to know: do you think you picked him, or did he pick you?
It
And how
wasn't
long
God,
did y'all date?
huh?
How long did y'all date?
A year and a half.
Mm.
So then, yeah, I
And
guess that's my question too. If you could go back, right? You know everything that you know now. If you could go back to the beginning, right? What would you have looked for? Or
Mm-hmm.
what do
not
you
him.
think?
But what? But okay. But it was something about him that you like, or that attracted you, or that piqued your interest for you to marry him, or not even for you to marry him, for you to even live with him. It
Yeah,
was something.
because like he didn't hit you over the head and just drag you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'll tell you. Because what I've been through within the last year before meeting him, we went through the flood in South Carolina. My house was flooded. We had to go through so much of stuff, losing stuff, had to end up cleaning my house, had to pay a whole bunch of money just to get my house done, put on the market to sell, going through the process of buying another home. And then my daddy had a heart attack. I had to cancel all of my paperwork to move at my daddy's house to get him situated. It was so much going on at the same time, trying to have one child in North Carolina in college, and my oldest son is deaf and he's in college. It was a lot. So it was a person that came in the picture that I could talk to all the time.
I also think because you had all that stuff going on, and that's a lot for one person, and you probably wanted somebody to kind of take some of that load off of you, so that you can like feel like you were being taken care of, because you're spending all this energy trying to take care of everything else, not only here where you are, but you got your dad over here, you had your house over here, you had your kid over here, you had all this going on, and you probably thought he has a steady income, it's a profession that's respectable, and and you would think, okay, and he wants to get married. He know this is what I already come with, and he's going to be a provider and a protector. I also think that a lot of the way that she feel, that Vanessa feel. Now, this just me. Hmm, I don't have a PhD in psychology or whatever, but she's disappointed. I think you're disappointed because everything that you saw that you wanted, although you say you may have not wanted to be married or whatever, but you did it. But you were hoping to get what you saw, the beginning part of what your mom and what your dad had.
And
Yes.
something that I definitely like to add is this. I believe that, so just my faith. I believe in God. And so a lot of the way that I process things is kind of through that like lens in a way. I also believe that everything happens on purpose for a purpose. I believe that nothing is wasted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, especially listening to your story and everything like that, I feel like a nugget of wisdom that can be pulled from this, especially for other people, let's say people my age that are watching this, who can learn from this as well, is something that came in my mind as you were speaking, was never sacrifice competency for the sake
Oh,
of companionship.
Yeah.
oh my! And you know what? And why? Go ahead, Millie.
And because there was a very genuine need that you had, and at the
Yes.
end of the day, your need should never be overlooked, because what you're feeling is real. Sometimes it's not always the truth, and the difference between real and the truth is this: if you took the time, and this isn't, if like for me in my mind, I'm putting myself in your position in that instance, and everything that you were experienced were real genuine needs.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
way that it was fulfilled, the way that it was fulfilled might not, you know what I'm saying, like the way that it was fulfilled on a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
recognizing here. And going back to something that Miss Wani was saying about your parents, everything that you told me, that sounds so amazingly beautiful, and it broke your heart.
Yes.
and
Exactly.
broke your heart, which it will break mine. Because as you were telling this story, I'm the kind of person, I put myself in the person's situation. I'm living in there. I'm just like, I get to see my daddy hop up, walk my mom out the door, open the garage, open the car door, fill her gas, take his family. Like, he really seemed as if he was somebody
Very
who was
intent.
and intentional. And
Mm-hmm.
intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm sitting here and I'm like, so a little bit more about me. I grew up in a single family household. My Aunt Leela and my birth dad side of the family, they were super engaged and they were super involved with us when we were growing up. But for the most part, when I was with my mom, it was her by herself raising us. So for me, I didn't really have, I saw a bit, I guess, of like a marriage dynamic when it came to my Aunt Judy and my Uncle Craig, but I wasn't really raised with like a strong male figure around all the time consistently. So for me, from that perspective, I'm like, sis, you had the blueprint. You had the blueprint. For me, I'm sitting here, I'm doing all this research, I'm reading these books, I'm talking to everybody because I'm trying to gain the wisdom that. So there's two ways that people gain things from the way that I've been learning. You either gain through experience or you gain through instruction. You were blessed to learn through instruction. Me, I'm just trying to get from everybody experience. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's really interesting because I'm thinking, how can I avoid something similar to this? And I'm recognizing it's never settle, or never,
Exactly.
never place companionship above competency, because
Yes.
you're not like that thing will fall away.
Yes. And
This is what I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this quick. This
okay.
is what my counselor told me. She said, once you file for divorce and you are divorced and you decide to go back into dating, she said, after a month of speaking to this person, get you a sheet of paper, put the pros and the cons. You write all your pros and all your cons. And all of a sudden, if your cons outweigh your pros even by one, that's not the person.
That's not the person. And I've heard that. I have heard that. And so both of you guys kind of hit on this. And so it's a segue because it's the next book that I want us to read in the book club. And it is by Sarah Jakes Roberts. She is TD Jakes' daughter. And I think this is like perfect. Perfect. And the book is called Don't Settle for Safe. Don't settle. It's like on Amazon, it's like $8. This is gonna be the next book, y'all. And oh my goodness, when you was like, when you smart to say don't settle, and I was like, this is because this is what it is. Don't settle for safe. And I think that's what a lot of us do when we're dating, or when we're and you may kind of latch on to what is sort of familiar to you, and what that familiarity may be might not necessarily be what's good for you. That's why a lot of people, when people date, they date the same type of person. And I believe that a person, if you date the same type of person, that's because you didn't learn from the last relationship. You did not take what you needed to take from that and you did not take what you needed to take from that experience and learn from it, and then start anew with what you have gained from it in another relationship. And you can continue to just do the same thing over and over again. And you find yourself dating the same type of person, having the same type of issues, whether you are. And that's why I tell my friend, because I told him, you know what? You have like I said, he's very masculine type personality, but his personality, he is also one. He likes to save people. He's a rescuer. So he always dates women who needs him. They need him for something. And so he's one, he needs to feel needed in some type of way. So, but those types of relationships, they always end up disastrous because he finds himself giving, and he gets nothing back in return. So, I really think that this book is going to be great for us. But first, we got to get through this one because we got to figure out who the heck we dating. Are we two feminine individuals trying to work out this relationship, or are we masculine? We
I said,
get nowhere.
I ain't no lesbian, but in mine, it's two women.
Oh my goodness. So Al says, Vandessa, did your dad come that way, or did your mom have to train or show him the things she wanted him and needed?
No, I'm
Hmm.
gonna tell you, my dad died at 9 years old. So my grandmother raised him. So my grandma always guided him and told him what you should do when it come down to a woman when you get to that point. When my dad was in college when he met my mom.
Mm.
My mom was a senior in high school. My daddy was in college, hour away in South Carolina. So when he would come on the weekends, that's when they dated.
Mm.
So I don't think my mom molded him to what she wanted. My grandmama had already implanted him what a real man should do and how a real man should be.
Who you said your mom did, or did you said your
My
grandmom did?
grandmother implanted that
Oh,
in my
your
dad.
grandma. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
then, like, well, I'm married to his mama ain't planning nothing but stupidity.
Oh, Vandessa, that's coming from hurt.
Oh no,
That's coming from disappointment. That's
no,
a
she's a barracuda with roller
oh my,
skates.
oh my goodness. Oh my okay. Go to the
I
next
do have
question.
one more question. I know we need to move on to the next question, but I have one more
Yeah.
question. Do you know why your parents split up? If you feel comfortable sharing.
From what I understood, because it happened the worst time ever. I was just graduating from college, and my dad was like, he sat my sister and I down. He said that I have fallen out of love with your mom.
They grew apart.
So they grew apart. Although we were in the same house, he said he grew apart. But the weirdest thing ever, I think my mom, she expressed to my sister and I that she still loved my dad. They separated and still was married 10 years after they separated. When my mama died on Mother's Day 2011, my dad coded the next month on Father's Day. That's where we spent our Father's Day in the hospital. Since then, my dad opened up that, he wished he would have got himself together to be back with my mom. But my dad deteriorated, and I mean, he's still deteriorating. I saw my dad about 3 weeks ago. My dad is probably about 150 pounds now. So
Mm,
he's steady deteriorating. He done had open heart surgery 3 times. His heart
Mm.
does not function at all. He has a machine inside his heart that acts as his heart. So
mm.
I done been up and down, but the man that my mom and I only heard of this because I have my RN. But if a person really honestly love a person, they can die of a broken heart. And the man that my
I
mom
believe
was
that.
dating for a long time, he called me and he said, I have to pass by your mom grave because my mom is in the memory guard and she's right there at the highway. You pass by, you can look right at her flowers. He was just like, I have to pass by there almost every day and it hurts me. So that Thursday, I said, Dad, I will be down there on Saturday to see you. It stormed like crazy. So I was like, I'm not going to get the kids and I drive from Columbia all the way I would have to the country. So come to find out, I did not call him. He was on the bathroom floor dead the whole time. When
Mm,
they found out, they did an autopsy to see if any foul play. On his death certificate said he died of a broken heart.
mm.
Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
happening, and I had to pull myself out of what I was, although I'm married by paper. My oldest son, dad, he and I still had a deep connection because he was my
Mm.
very first love. And he died from COVID 2 years ago.
I remember
And
that.
my counselor had to really, she like stepped in. I had my doorbell rang on a Friday night. I talked to her that morning. That Friday night, someone rang doorbell. The kids were like, Mama, it's a chunky white lady at the door. I was like, what? So I look out the window and there was a Mercedes. And I was like, what Joan doing here? She was like, I came here because if you don't snap out of this, you're going to leave your 3 kids because you are broken. And then instantly I started thinking about dad, and I was like, you know what? If I don't snap on it, I'm going to end up passing away because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
So
you.
I
Thank you so much for being willing to be vulnerable enough to share. And I really appreciate the
Yes.
fact that you're willing to come on here and just really open up your heart to us like this. Thank you.
Thank you,
you know what?
Vandessa. And we
Bye,
happy to
y'all.
have you on here. Thank
I
you.
told you I was gonna come. You didn't see it. Didn't
You
yeah, on the
did. You did. She
Episode.
finally
On the
came up.
Episode. All right, I'm going back on the other side. Bye.
Bye.
That was fun.
I know. Okay, well, okay. So you want to go to the next question?
Mic's open. If anybody else wants to hop on, we're here. We'd love to go back and forth, banter a little bit.
Yes. We have Al on here. We have Auntie Leela on here. We have Stephanie. Of course, we have V on here. So, you want to go to the next question?
Yes. So the next prompt is this: as a masculine energy, appreciate and cherish your man's gentle, sensual qualities without bearing him resentment or losing respect for him. We just talked about that.
Yes, we did.
As I said earlier, choosing to be the feminine does not mean being weak. On the contrary, a feminine energy man must be secure enough in himself that he respects your leadership and does not resent you for it or try to undermine you competitively as a masculine man might. One sign of a secure feminine energy man is that he will respect your decisions about your money and career, accept your directions, and to the best of his abilities, assist you in staying healthy, having fun, and having the most of your wonderful and making the most of your wonderful talents and skills. So, with that in mind, my question was, what do you think about what she said? And then I'm going to follow up with, would you view a feminine energy man as weak, or do you agree with the way that the author describes him?
I don't like the way that she described him. The way that she describes him makes him seem weak. And it also sort of makes him seem like he's lazy.
I saw it a bit differently. In the past 6 months or so, I've switched from being in a more of an employee situation to being more in charge and like a business owner and things like that. And as I mentioned a bit earlier, I've been taking on a lot more contract work and things of the sort. And I recognize that because I've been pushed sort of in that masculine having to perform energy, that it's becoming harder for me to switch back into my feminine when it's necessary, because I have to be on so much. It's just kind of work, collapse, go to sleep. Recharge, work. So the way that she describes him, the fact that he is sensual and secure, and the fact that he's going to be the one who's in charge of making sure that you have fun. So because you're the masculine in that way, you're providing, you're doing all of these things, he gets to pour back into you in that way. So I'm not seeing it. I could see how somebody who is a career woman and not a woman with a career, which I see myself being long-term. I see myself long-term being a woman with a career and not a career woman. I could see how that would be so attractive, because at the end of the day, he's planning dates. He's planning all of this. He's planning fun. He's making sure that you come home, you have food prepared, that the house is clean, that everything is good, so you could just come home and just be. He's the one who's in charge of, sensuality. He'll light the candles. You just got to step in and be cute, like you get what I'm saying? Like, when I thought about it from that perspective, I could understand how somebody who has a really high performance, high strung job could find that so attractive, especially if they don't have to sacrifice career in order to be married. Because the way that she described the masculine energy woman is that she is a career woman. She loves what she does and she wants her career to come first. So if you want your career to come first, this is what you're going to attract, according to the author. And it makes sense.
Okay, so basically, what the author is saying, that if they were both career minded and both that it wouldn't work.
wouldn't work.
But how? But we see that every day. We see people who are doctors and lawyers married to one another. Both of them
But I
very
think,
career minded.
but I
So
think
you
the
think
difference.
that when one comes home, one steps back? That's possible. It could be possible.
About it, right? Think about it even logistically and time wise. If both people were completely committed solely to what they're doing, who would raise the
Mm-hmm.
kids?
Well, you probably won't have no kids.
You get what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
either they decide not to have children, or I mean, unless you want YouTube to raise them.
Now, Auntie Leela says she disagree with that. Auntie Leela,
Hop
come
on,
on,
Leela.
Auntie Leela. I'm gonna put the link down. Tell us what you disagree with. That's a everyday life. Oh, a nanny. Vandessa still. I don't I don't know if I know me. Everything that they've just that the author described in here, it doesn't appeal to me, which is probably why I can't see it any other way.
Oh, I'm not saying it appeals to me. I'm just saying that I can
Oh
understand
yes,
it. Yes, I can
yes.
definitely understand it. Yes.
I don't know if I can
I'm just
understand it. I think I will have oh, here comes Auntie Leela.
Yay!
Hey,
Hey,
all right. Am I heard?
yes.
Yes.
Oh, this is so weird. My first time doing this. No, I disagree with what the author said, that if you're career driven, you're masculine energy. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm career, I've had a desire to do what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
all my life. I went to school to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm really good at what I do. I'm in a senior leadership role where I work. Now,
Mm-hmm.
granted, I'm not married, but
Mm-hmm.
when I come home, I like I don't see myself as having a dominant feminine energy. I mean, sorry,
A
dominant
masculine.
masculine energy. I
Mm-hmm.
have a feminine energy. If I'm dating a guy, I step
Mm-hmm.
back.
Mm-hmm.
And let me not say step back. Let me not say step back.
Your role.
I take off the professional persona.
Yes.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
way to describe it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that two career-minded people can be successful. Now, you once you have children, a decision does have to be made. I will say
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
because two people, unless you want to nannies raising your children,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying that
That's not bad.
the woman has to give up her career. That's not what I'm saying. But they're, like, we call it in my profession, the mommy tax,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm an attorney. So you'll see females going into public service law as opposed to at a private law firm.
Okay.
Where they have a set schedule, they know they're going to be home, and when they get home, they don't have to work. They can focus
Mm-hmm.
on their children, as opposed to being at a big firm where you're traveling and working around the clock.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and we call it the mommy tax. So yes, there is something that a woman who wants to raise children with her husband, and they're both career, that she has to give up. There is something that she has to give up. But
Mm-hmm.
I disagree that with the statement that just because she wants a career, she's a masculine energy.
Yes.
I disagree with.
Yes. I agree with that. I think that's what I was having the issue with, and that's why I stated that there are people who are both professionals, and like a doctor and a lawyer, or two lawyers, or whatever the case there may be. And but like you said, that when you're in a relationship, you take that hat off. The
Right.
roles, it changes. So that's why I was questioning that. I was like, I don't know. But in this paragraph, the way she describes the man, it really made him seem lazy, and he
Mm.
kind of like lived off of her, and his only job was to make her happy when
Well,
he
that's the man she chose. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the man she chose. I mean, Melissa didn't get to spend a lot of time around my aunt and uncle. I mean, they're still alive, but my aunt and uncle, both career, people.
Mm-hmm.
But again, she took a path in her career. She used to always say, she told me this when I had my daughter, never be, no, not, you always need to be within hollering distance of your children,
Mm.
at all times. And so I made certain career choices with that in my mind. But
Mm-hmm.
you see her at work, and she's, they're old and retired. She's commanding, she's this. And then when she's home, it's like
Mm-hmm.
Tony this and Tony that. And what do you want, Tony? And dinner's ready, Tony. And Tony. And
Mm-hmm.
they have clear, and he likes to clean, so she does all the cooking. He comes behind her and cleans the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yes.
that's what he likes to do and he's good at. And she makes him feel,
Mm-hmm.
she has always made him, and like both ways, she's always made him feel special and
And
important
appreciate it.
and appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was sick and has been sick, through the years, he has always stepped in and
Mm-hmm.
taken care of her and made sure she had everything, she needed. And,
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about selecting. I honestly, I don't know. Well, I will say this.
What's that?
He's not the man my grandmother would have picked for her. But
Really?
yeah, but she was of a mind to pick the man who was good for her and not who her people said she
Mm-hmm.
should marry. You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he wasn't, he didn't come,
Of course.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just a lot of, he
Yes.
wasn't educated at that time, all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. But but they're the only marriage that's still intact and great
Mm.
of of my dad and his siblings. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think you can, maybe I'm naive because I'm not married, but I've seen women do both.
Yes. And so have I. So have I. But then that goes back to talking about what we talked about, I think, in week one, when they're like gender roles, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so a gender roles, are they gender roles intended just to be like gender roles? Man does this, woman does this, or is it that you have your career and gender roles, just like you say, it can work however it works for you. Like you said, your uncle, he liked the cleaning. She
Right.
would cook, he would come back and clean.
Right.
And but then there's some men who think, well, I don't clean.
Right.
Right.
and
You cook,
I
you
have
clean, you do everything.
wait a minute, and I have friends who have husbands like that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like they got to pick up the socks, do the
Mm.
laundry, do the
Mm-hmm.
do mow the lawn.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, they clean the ammo on the lawn?
Here's the thing: I mow the lawn if you're in there, vacuuming, washing, and when I say I mow the lawn, if I like mowing the lawn,
Yes.
I'll mow the lawn. If you, on the other hand, like doing all the cooking,
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
because Melissa, Aunt Kachi, that's my best friend. Aunt Kachi doesn't ever have to cook.
Mm.
But
she likes being she likes being in her yard.
Yes, because her husband loves to cook.
Chef.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a good cook. He's a chef, and he loves to cook. And so
about him.
You said what you said, Melissa?
I said them hush puppies. I'm still thinking about them.
So I think you got to figure out what works. What works. But but I do believe that you need to make, especially our men, make them, by our men, I mean Black men,
Yes.
make them feel appreciated, because oftentimes they're so beat down.
Yes.
Out here, and I don't care how successful they are, they're
Mm-hmm.
still dealing with some of that institutionalized, institutional. Why are you here syndrome?
Yes.
You're not supposed to be here syndrome. Yeah, no matter how successful. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And that's a whole nother topic.
But then I have a follow-up question then. If
What's
two
that?
people in a relationship are career minded and their career and their focus, if they're both career people, if for some reason somebody gets a great opportunity halfway across the country, but the other person has a great opportunity where they are,
Mm.
whose career takes precedence, or do they just have a long distance relationship?
Now you know your Aunt Judy followed Uncle Craig all over the country.
Okay.
She went to Albuquerque, she went to Buffalo, she went to Phoenix. She followed that man, and you know she's career driven, and she followed that man, and she didn't let her career take a back seat, but she had to restart her career everywhere she
Mm-hmm.
went. And she
Mm-hmm.
followed that man all over the country until finally, this last move, he said to her, he got laid off
Mm-hmm.
and jokingly said, well, Judy, if you find a job, Judy was like, we should go back to East to our family.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, kind of not snarkily, but not really seriously. Well, if you find a job back east, since I'm, been laid off, I'm willing to move. She had a
Mm-hmm.
job in a week.
Because the last thing he had to say, that was all it took.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Say less. She said, say less. I will create a job.
I will get this. You have not said a thing.
Yep. But as God had it, it worked
Mm-hmm.
out because they moved back, and then his mother got sick, and his mother was here, and he was able to see his mother she had a stroke, went into nursing care, and he was able to be there and care for his mother and be with her up until she passed away. And
See
that
that?
never would have happened had they remained in Phoenix. Yeah.
You see that?
Mhm.
And while you were speaking about that, I thought about Michelle and Barack. Both
Yeah.
of them were very into their careers or whatever. And she totally stopped his so that stopped hers,
Yep.
but delayed hers so that he can pursue his.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really interesting. In last week's book club, something that she spoke about is the fact that when you decide to have children, especially if you're that feminine energy woman, after the age of 5, you need to stop being focused on mothering as much and more focused on you as an individual. So they were saying that after the children, and then later on in the book, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. Never mind. That's it. I will give away the whole thing because I was about to connect something to something she said later, but that's the thing, once I start reading, I'll just go. So.
And that part, I don't know, because I don't know if you can put an age limit on,
Right.
as long as you don't have your 18-year-old still sleeping in the bed with you. But I don't think that you can't say like 5.
Right.
Because each kid is different and each kid needs something different. Some kids are more independent. Some kids, you kind of have to kind of nudge them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So just to be like 5 or whatever, or a certain age, you can't do that.
So I don't think she means like throw them out to the wolves and be like, you gotta start paying rent, player. Like, I don't think that's what she means. I think what she was saying is, like the overall like doting and, when they're born, they can't even lift their own head up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to do everything for them. But I think what she was getting at is that once they're at the age of 5, they're usually potty trained around that time. So they have a bit more independence. So it's like giving them the ability to move closer and closer towards independence as they're ready for things, and then stepping back so that you can focus on you. Because another thing that she was saying was that when it comes to the marriage dynamic, if you're so focused on mothering, you stop being a woman, you stop being yourself, and you also stop being a wife. So that's how you can see somehow, people, especially after a couple of years of being married, they drift this way because they're no longer focused on the union. They're focused on the kids. And then when the kids go to college, they don't know each other anymore. So I think it's one of those type of situations. But then again, this is all research. So.
But then you also have to remember that she's a Caucasian woman.
Right.
Okay.
So her experience is definitely going to be different from your experience.
Right.
And the way that some Caucasian people raise and rear their kids is not the same way that
Right.
we do, because I think we have to be a little bit more hands
Yeah.
on with our
Mhm.
kids, because our kids' experiences are different from their kids'
Right.
experiences. And
Right.
so there are things that we have to address with our kids, and we have to do a whole lot of explaining,
Mm-hmm.
because as you see out there, all this stuff is going on and it doesn't happen with everybody.
Right.
So we have more explaining to do. So we can't let Brandon go out here and be a little bit more independent at
Right.
5, because the 5-year-old Brandon's experience is going to be different from the
Right.
5-year-old Timmy's experience.
Right. Right.
Okay,
Right. My
that makes
parents, your grandmother was advocating for me when I was in high school,
Mm,
because if something happened with a grade or and she would come up. Had I been white, she may have trusted the school district, for me to advocate for myself,
Mhm.
and teachers to listen and respect and hear me,
Mhm.
and take certain actions. But she knew she couldn't trust him because I was just a little black girl, not just a little black girl, but I was a black girl in rural North Carolina.
Mhm.
And so she couldn't have me just unleashed out there trying to act. Whenever something was going on, came to the school, got me out of class, and then we went and dealt, went to the guidance counselor's office or wherever, and we dealt with it. So I do agree. I think for our kids, you need to be we we can't we can't engage in hands-off parenting the way
mhm,
they can.
mhm.
That
I
Yeah.
makes sense. You know
totally
what
agree.
makes me miss a little bit? And Flournoy, where she went? Do you remember the woman from the
Oh
first
yes,
document,
yes. She
sectionality and
never.
all that kind of stuff? It makes you wonder where
Yes.
she went.
I don't know. I don't know. Yes, I
Well,
totally agree with Aunt Leela. Exactly.
I completely agree with you on Lila.
yeah.
We have everybody calling her on Lila.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody calling you Aunt Leela.
So I'm gonna hop
um,
off and let somebody else hop in.
All right. Thank you
thank
Okay.
for
you.
coming on.
All right, great. And I
Love
was
you.
working last. That somebody I heard you say, where was I last week? I
Mm-hmm.
was we because I work at a college, and we had
Mhm.
just gotten our accreditation reaffirmed. I'm not gonna say I was working. Let me not lie. We had just gotten our accreditation reaffirmed, and
Mm-hmm.
we were out celebrating last. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I missed last week. All
Oh,
righty.
well,
Thank
we
Okay.
you.
miss you.
Love you too, Mimi. All right. Melly Mel. All right.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
So now we're on to chapter 8, because I figure,
Mm-hmm.
we had enough of this. We had enough of all this other
Yes.
stuff. So
Yes.
we
So
are
we don't went through
everybody
all of
else
this.
in. So if the shoe don't fit, don't put it on.
That's
So
right.
for the masculine women out there, who might be listening, chapter 7's a great read. So chapter 8, flirt to attract. I kid you not. This one had me up past my bedtime, because they were like,
Oh
they're
my
about to teach a
goodness.
girl how to get game. What?
Oh my goodness.
I had my brother tell me recently that the thing is that women never had to learn game. We're just taught to show up and be cute because that's enough, and the guys have to learn the game. But apparently, there's a whole nother level of this that apparently just went right over my head while I was reading books in school. So now I'm reading the right books. So in this, so the author states that if you want to attract a masculine energy male, you must be seen as a sexual object. You take
Mm,
care of your body, dress sensuously, fix your hair, makeup, and go where the men are. Catch his eye and signal your interest and availability with the 5-second flirt technique, so he won't be afraid to approach you. Smile. Don't talk. If you speak first, you're the better man. She offers
mm.
advice on how to package your femininity. So I'm going to read, the way that I'm going to have this set up is I'm going to read the sections, and then we're going to talk about it, if that's okay with
Mhm,
everyone.
mhm.
So the first one is package your femininity. Only dress in unflattering, non-accentuating clothing when you want comfort above everything else, even getting a man. Dress to present yourself as a sensuous looking woman all the time. And now the question is, what are some of the ways that you package your femininity?
You asking me?
I mean, you over
Oh,
here snatched up. So how do you package your femininity?
I always say, I highlight my best accents. So I love my legs. I have people always talk about my legs. So I'm gonna show my legs. I will show my legs. I love this part up here. I like
Oh, the
that.
the
The
decolletage.
décolletage. Yes, yes, yes. And yeah, because that's generally me. I I always think also it's like, although my eyebrows are naturally like this or whatever, but I just think that when you get your eyebrows like arched or whatever, it really like shows off your face. It shows your eyes. So when you're smiling, your eyes they look more brighter. And yeah. So here's Aunt Judy.
Listen, we're not gonna skate around the fact that apparently you just have naturally perfect eyebrows. She said, I don't
I
gotta do nothing. Everybody
I
else who needs something,
don't.
mommy, I saw it. Hey, Aunt Judy.
Aunt
I think you
Judy's
might
on. Let me see. Is she? I can't unmute her. You're muted.
tell her look at the screen and look at the mic. Did you hear mommy? Look at the screen and look at the mic. Look at the screen and look at the mic. There should be a little microphone button, like a red.
I think she's
Yeah.
good now. Hi, Aunt Judy.
Hello. Y'all made me sign in. Y'all made me sign in. I had to sign in. Because
Thank you.
the discussion got good. I'm like, wait a minute, she's talking about me. Leila was talking about me. I'm like, wait a minute, let me figure out.
Uh-oh.
Did
What
you mute yourself
happened?
again by accident?
Aunt Judy, no, she's not muted. Oh, she hit the button. She became so excited.
Oh, don't tell me she done took herself out the game.
She took herself out the game. Come back on, Aunt Judy.
We're gonna give her a
Vandessa's
second.
cracking up.
We're gonna give her a second.
Oh, here she comes.
I'm back.
Yay!
Yeah, y'all made me sign in. Y'all made me sign in.
Just know
Aunt Judy.
all good things. I said all good things.
Yeah, but Leila was telling my history. I'm like, wait a minute.
She's like, that sounds familiar.
I'm like, how do I sign in on this? Yeah.
So I have a
Aunt Judy,
question.
what did you have to say?
What did
Okay.
you have to
I was talking about gender roles and all this and all that. And I'm just gonna say this because I'm Melissa's aunt, Mimi's aunt, and I have been married ups and downs with Uncle Craig, Craig, my husband. And I will say this because sometimes we get into gender roles. Like I was raised Southern, so I was raised to think about, gender roles and take care of my man. I grown up with the fairy tales. Um, uh, what's her name? Anita Baker fairy tales.
Yes, yes.
Fairy tales. And I'm like, and I tell you, I had this, and you gotta really think about these gender roles because when I first got married, I was, just newly married, fresh gold wedding ring, like a chain, band of gold, and I said, we're riding down the freeway, newly married, and I said to my husband, I said, I just want to do everything for you and take care of you. And see, he's a PhD, he's an engineer. He's only about 2 years older than me, but we were, he was raised with a mother who had a household. His parents are divorced. Had a household, and so I'm like, I just want to do everything for you and be a good wife. All a little Southern. I just want
Yes.
a good wife. And he comes and says, I don't want all that. And I'm
Mm.
like, what the hell? I'm like, wow, what the what?
All these years I've
I
been
was
building up
like,
to
of
this,
All
and
course.
these
you don't
years,
want it.
I've been building all this up, and I'm sitting here offering myself, I'll do this and I'll do that for you. And he's like, I don't want all that. And I'm like, well, what do I do now? You know
Mm.
what I mean? It's kind of like it, and for me, it made me a little bit bitter because I was like, and that's what I would have to say is that we can't go into marriages feeling like what men want and what they expect
Mm-hmm.
because we make ourselves tired. I mean, we
Mm.
can get real tired. And then they say we changed when we
Yes.
suddenly want help with the cleaning and we want help with the
Mm-hmm.
cooking and we want them to wash the dishes. Then
Mm-hmm.
when we say you're gonna wash these dishes, then they go, "Oh, she changed." Versus, I think we need to come in going, because and Mimi will tell you every time because she's been around us all these decades, 3 decades. uh when I cook, he cleans the dishes. He
Mm-hmm.
just
Mhm.
gets up and starts cleaning the dishes. I don't have to say it. He
Mm-hmm.
just gets up, and you know what, and that's the thing is that at first my mother would say, um you know my mother would say, you gonna let him clean these dishes? And
Oh
I'd
my
be like,
goodness. Yes.
yes I am.
Yes, I am.
Yes I
I've
am
done
gonna
all that cooking.
Yes, yes, I am gonna let him clean these dishes
Mm-hmm.
because you know what I mean. You could have this. I'm going. Don't you get up? You don't. And then when they
Mm.
start acting that way, like they expect it, then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I feel so overwhelmed that he don't help me. Versus,
Mm-hmm.
you got to say, okay, well, how is do I want? I would help. You know what I mean? Washing these dishes. That's
Mm-hmm.
nice. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yes.
And I tell you, I've had people say to me, and I have a career. I'm a physician, and so
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard career, and I always had, like, from the time I was in residency, because residency is tough, hard. I didn't
Yes.
have any kids at that point in time. We didn't have any kid. We have a kid now, a son who's a grown up, but Mimi's cousin. But I didn't have. I always had a little cleaner lady because I was like, and you know what? He never fussed about it. We were two income household. I had a clean
Mm-hmm.
resident right out of medical school, and I was always gone. I was always at work. And so,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about how do you manage all this with two people? Yes, you can have it all. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I say to you. Can you have it all? Yes. But can you do it all? No.
No.
Mhm.
You can have it all, but you can't do it all.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, you can have it all,
Mhm.
but if you think that you're going to
Mm.
be a doctor, run a practice,
Mm.
have a kid, feed the kid,
Mm.
uh,
Take care of the house.
take care of the house, clean the house,
Mm-hmm.
wash the dishes, cook the dinner, and wash the dishes, you're gonna break down. You're gonna break down. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and then though, because I met some women who are like, I don't let nobody help me clean my house. That's my job, and I'm like, well, that's a bunch of okay. If that's you, you do you. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna break down with illness
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because I because I'm trying to do something for what other people see. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
even as I've gotten older over the last couple of years, and I was like kind of tired, and so my husband started cooking dinner. Like, he loves his crock pot. He started cooking dinner, and then
Mm-hmm.
my mother said, are you gonna? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You see, you
Are
hear
you
the little
gonna?
voice. You hear the little voice. You gonna let him cook dinner? And I said, yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am, because that helps me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I cook, and then what I said to her is, I cook dinner for 20 years.
Mm.
How come nobody asked me
You
if
you you gonna let her cook?
you gonna let her cook dinner? Nobody asked me that, and I was cooking. I was, and that's when my son was, growing up, and I was cooking. I was cooking every meal. I was cooking all my holiday meals. I was cooking everything. And nobody stopped and asked me if you gonna let her cook? Nobody asked me that. So we also have to say, okay, what is the agreement that you get into with your spouse?
Mm-hmm.
It's between y'all. It's
Yeah.
between y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And other people, like even your mother, my mother, love her to death, but even your mother is going to ask about that, in terms of the old gender roles. They're
Yes.
going to be like, is that okay? Are you okay? And you have to be confident
Mm-hmm. Your
in
relationship.
in what you feel and what you all create. Like Aunt Leila was saying, I finished my residency and I had a nice job. And then he got a job opportunity out in the Southwest. And I was like, really? I just had a baby. I was like, I don't want to go. I want
Mm-hmm.
to be back here with my people. And I don't know nobody out there. And guess what? I packed up me and the 2-month-old baby. He
Mm-hmm.
turned, we left when he was a month old. We got out there when he was 2 months old because we stayed with his brother in Jersey for a little bit. And then I I spent the next 12 years out there alone, me and the baby. I made
Mm-hmm.
friends, you know. Family couldn't come out as much. My mother came out twice a year. Uh and or really once a year, because she'd come out at Christmas time. And one time she couldn't come out because the snow in Philly stopped her from coming out. And that's when I was like, I didn't even get to see my mother this even once this year.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this is a little too much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, and that's where Aunt Leila put the little story in about. I was like, I'm ready to be near my people. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and then we always brought Mimi and her siblings, always brought them out in the
Mm-hmm.
summer for a week to see their cousin, and for my son to see them and know.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I want to just be more than that. I want to be more than that. So I ended up uh, I ended up saying to him, what if we move back? And then he made that prophetic statement that Aunt Lila said, if you can find a job, we can move back. I agree with Aunt Lila. I don't think he thought I would find a job.
Yes.
Within
Mm.
a week, I had a job. Within a week.
You see,
I found me a job. I'm like,
don't tell us what we can't do.
don't tell us, and don't tell us that we can do something if we do this. I'm like, that's
Yes.
gonna happen. That's
Yes.
gonna happen. I searched all we all got searched, and I took the job, a headhunter, I got a headhunter, whatever. But I guess what I'm saying, so we moved back, and I've been happily back with all of everybody, Mimi and all the loved ones since that time. But I guess I'm trying to say, in terms of y'all are talking about, can you have it all as a woman who's married? Yes, but you cannot do it all. Don't
Mm.
try to do it all. If
Mm.
you have the means, even if it's like, say, you might not have the means to have a person come in, a cleaning company come in, but you
Mm-hmm.
could say, well, every 2 months I'm gonna have a cleaning company come in and
Mhm.
and do, the toilets and I'll do what I can. It really makes a big difference to me as a professional person. I guess if you're not, depending on your finances, or um if that's not something you can do, I understand that. But I'm saying, if you're two household working people, and you're like, okay, once every 2 months, we're going to have this company come in and just deep clean, and then we can do the rest.
Mhm.
Especially, as I guess, for me, as you get older. But
Mhm.
but I guess I'm trying to say, if I had to try to clean the house,
Mm.
cook all the meals, yes,
Mm-hmm.
something will get sacrificed in
For
terms
sure.
in terms of relationship.
Yes. Definitely.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
I have a question on Judy.
Yes.
So here, how did you and how do you package your femininity now?
Well, it's an interesting thing, because I wish Aunt Leila was still on here, because
Uh-oh.
she calls me, she says I have a male essence. And I'm like, what the beep does that mean?
Yes, what is that?
What does that mean?
The
And
beef.
I'm like, what the beep? I'm not gonna cuss, but what the beep does that mean? I have a male essence. And I think what she was trying to say is, I don't put up, as you can tell, I don't put up with a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
don't minimize myself. So
Mm.
I guess in my mind, I see femininity as femininity does not have to mean, it can mean, like we were talking about, she was talking about her aunt. It can mean demure at sometimes, but it also can be commanding. It can be not commanding. Put it this way: to be a wife and to be feminine, you also don't have to lose your whole self.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't have to be a spineless backbone. No backbone. That a lot of times books, and you see these men on the radio talking about what they want from a black woman. It's like, that's BS, because they don't want that. Because I've seen black men with white women, and the white women are telling the black men just as much as a black woman what they want them to do, what they want to do next. You know what I mean? Women in general, we rule our households. So I mean, it's kind of like, I see femininity as taking care of yourself. Like
Veronica told me to V told me to defend myself.
What did I say that wasn't okay? What did I say?
When you said that, I said you had male energy.
You did. Well, see, didn't I tell you? I said essence, but she said energy.
No, you know what it is, and it's that she's bossy, and I consider that, you know, the bossy.
I told y'all. I tell you, that's what she said. But what I'm saying is, I still feel very feminine. I don't feel like
exactly, Stacey.
Or bossiness makes me less feminine. I mean, it's kind of like, I love, to get my nails done. I do my own hair now because it's natural. But I do my hair. I like to I color my hair. You know what I mean? I like to wear a dress. I like to wear like
she wore a sequined outfit to get her car serviced during COVID.
Yes, I did.
She was stuck in the house and had nowhere to wear it. So, so she had to get her car serviced. So she put on sequins to go get her car.
No, not sequins. I put on a caftan that had mirrors all over it.
It had mirrors on it.
It was mirrors. A mirrored caftan, girl. A mirrored caftan. There were these little.
Was great though.
These little tiny, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. These little tiny mirrors all over the caftan, sewn into the caftan. And the caftan was sheer with like a black dress underneath. So the black dress, like a fitted black dress with a sheared caftan on top. And, we're sitting in the house, can't do nothing, can't go nowhere. And of course, we're looking at the, shopping on the internet. And so, FedEx, delivering the packages to everybody. Everybody's buying stuff. And then I didn't have nowhere to wear it. So when the world started opening up, I needed an oil change. So I went into the dealer to get my oil change in a black mirrored caftan.
They're gonna see me today.
Yes. I was like, and I know they were probably like, okay. But I was like, yes, here I am. Like I was showing up for a movie premiere, girl. But
we have the whole family on. Here comes
if we gonna show up, we gonna show out.
Guys, I want to take this opportunity right there. I show in my videos, you guys here. Even when Melissa talking said I was a single mother, I never felt like a single mother. These people right here, after the split with their brothers, even before that, they helped me raise my children. And it's still involved in their life even up to date. But what I really jump up here to also say, Judy, this is a great opportunity. Judy is also an author, and we could do your book on here too.
Oh, yes.
Judy, what's your book about?
Well, it's a book about a kid in foster care who finds a forever home.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That would be awesome because my sister actually was a foster parent for like 15 years. She has a lot of foster kids. Some of them she's paid their way through college. She's bought them cars. And...
Yes. God bless her.
Yes.
So I'm just happy to have you guys on, and I know I like to take over stuff. Juani tell you. I'm glad to jump up here and to see you guys. It just warmed my heart to both of you guys on here, and with Melissa, and that y'all input. And Judy, like I said, the book, they have there's a next book that's coming up. I think it's Sarah Jakes Roberts. They do that's the next book club. Your
Yeah.
book could be the next book.
Yes, only thing right now is I don't have an outlet for people to buy it because Amazon, my publisher, acted up, and so I don't have an outlet for people to buy it. So we'll table my book for a while. We'll
Okay.
table my book for a while.
Okay, okay.
I
Well,
got
when you ready, Aunt Judy.
okay.
Mom,
Okay.
here, I did have a question. How do you package your femininity?
Who? V?
Yeah.
I've seen her in action. V glides down the aisle at the store.
Yes, she
Yes,
does.
she
Like
does.
a
Glides down the
runway
aisle.
fashion model.
Yes,
Yes.
she
This
does.
is not about me. I'm getting off.
Like she brought all the attention to herself just to say it's not about me.
Oh my goodness.
So what I've learned about packaging femininity: show up abruptly, say what you have to say, and then slide away.
Mhm. Oh,
Well, I don't think you need to slide away. I don't think you need to slide. I'm in your face, remember? Leela said I'm the male. I'm the male. Yes, I don't think you need to slide away. But I think you can say anything you need to say without being aggressive. That's the fallacy. People feel like that as a woman that I have to be that women have to be aggressive, like and be like and say things harshly to be heard and to be heard and valued. Versus, I'm like, you don't have to become like a man to be like to be what was the word? Not dominant. Like what's the word, Leela? To be
To be effective,
assertive.
to be heard.
To be
Assertive,
assertive and
Assertive.
heard. Like, you know, and a lot of people feel like they have to do, like they have to get mean to be assertive and heard. Versus you can say things very, very, you can tell somebody, I'm sorry, I have to let you go in terms of work. Nobody wants to hear that, but I'm saying you could say that with such kindness. And the person may still, how they receive it is up to them. But you can still say it. And you can still say it without like people feeling like you're gonna change your mind or they can change your mind about it. You can say anything in an assertive way, but still being kind. So to me, I think that's where women can shine as how we package our femininity. Like I've always admired, like I have had mentors of women who, I'm not a person who wears high heels or things, but my mentors, and I'm not a person who always, maybe can say this, he dresses better than me, but I'm just saying, I'm not a person, but I admire that in women who can come into any setting and look whatever their look is that they can wear it. It doesn't have to be fancy or whatever. It could just be blue jeans and a little jacket or blue jeans and a little sweater. It's about being confident. Confident in whoever you are and whatever your femininity, however you express femininity. Like I said, for me, my femininity is not girly girl femininity. That's not me at all. Like that's not me. Like I like designers that have almost a neutral, or not designers, but you know what I mean. I look for clothes like the Gap or something that are almost neutral, that are almost neutral, that it could be a guy could wear it, a girl could wear it. Not that I'm saying I don't feel like a guy in any way because I have my nails polished, I have my little earrings on, I have my hair done, I might have some makeup, but might have on a black t-shirt and some blue jeans. You know what I mean? And that's to me, I think that's where we need to claim whatever you feel.
Yes.
That's what you need to do, and not let people make you feel like sometimes, like especially I guess what I'm commenting on is that you see some people with guys who are like, well, I want you to wear this dress, baby, wear this dress and wear this, and be like, see, that kind of guy would not be drawn to me because I'd be like, I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'd be like, and for me that would be, so for me that's expressing my femininity is more dominant, I guess you might say, but it's also but it, like I said, dominant not meaning manly. I'm not a man, but I feel I have never felt like I needed to subjugate myself to a man to be a woman,
That makes
Right.
sense.
you know. So I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I know something that I had mentioned during the first book club was that the way that people say that a quote unquote feminine woman should be is completely opposite, or especially if you are looking at femininity or how you're supposed to be and move through like a biblical lens. It's not what people say it's supposed to be. Is not what we see when you look at the Proverbs 31 woman. She was industrious, she was entrepreneurial,
Yeah.
she was somebody who was in charge of her household. She did all these different things. So I guess it's just about the way that you decide, like on Judy was saying, to market your femininity, and then whoever is naturally attracted to that will be attracted to that.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And now this is
I'm
my
hanging.
favorite part. This is what had me up. This is called How to Flirt as a Woman. So
And
we gonna
hanging up, letting other people hop on. I'm gonna hang up and let other people hop in.
Okay.
I'm
Thank
still
you,
here.
Okay, I'm gonna let other people hop in too, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna be listening.
Yeah,
Thank you,
we'll
Aunt Judy. Thank
Bye.
you,
All
Aunt
right.
Leah.
love you.
Bye-bye.
bye. Love you.
Love you.
Hi.
They're awesome. They're so cute.
Thank you. Oh, Judy, you still on? You can hang out with us if you want. Okay, she gone.
Uh-huh.
So
Vandessa says her eyes, period. So she thinks that's how she flirts. She with her eyes. You do
ooh.
you remember on America Next Top Model when I may be dating myself with Tyra Banks? Did you watch that? Oh, well, she had this thing on there. Excuse me, where she would tell the models that they need to smize, and so that's like when you smile with your eyes.
Like this?
Yeah, girl, that's probably it. Okay, but I don't purse your lips. But yes, so everything is through your eyes. And so when Vandessa said that, I'm like, yes, your eyes. And because I think you can really tell a lot by someone's eyes, and especially if they look you in your eyes when they're speaking to you, because if you know what I mean. Because it's hard to lie and you looking at someone in their eye. Because
I'll
people
be
always
honest.
what
It's hard to talk and look somebody in their eyes. I get
It-
distracted. I get
you-
distracted. So
you
I
look
try
to the left.
to just be like,
Oh my
so according to the author, right? When you spot the guy you are interested in, you bring out the 5-second flirt technique as a way to capture his interest and invite him to approach you. You do nothing more than smile, and if you do it properly, she says, I promise you, you will have results. That's a promise. And so it's interesting because when I read that section, it basically puts the woman in the seat of power. She's the one who approves who gets
Definitely.
to come and approach her. And I was like, I never thought about that.
But that is so true because and men even say that. Even like when you're dating someone, we have the power with everything. We have the power to be like, okay, yes, we're about to be intimate, or no, I'm not going to be with you. We have the power. Period.
And I feel like that might be the trick of the enemy and the trick of maybe weak men who are pseudo masculine to try to get women to forget that they are the prize. Because
Who,
if
men or women?
no, as like pseudo masculine men, like people who are actually really weak and they want things easy. The easiest way to get somebody to lower their standards is by getting them to forget who they are. So if we are always operating with the perspective that we're the prize, we're the ones that you actually want, as opposed to what society and culture teaches women, which is you have to go find a man, you have to go chase a man. Now you've made them the prize. So now you're putting yourself in a position where it's like, okay, what can I do to get him? What can I do to be with him? What can I do for this? What can I do for that? When according to what you're saying, you just being you should be enough.
Right. But you also have to look at this is that with men, I don't know if it's necessarily society. Well, I guess it could be society. But when you have men who think that they're the prize because they listen to the stereotype or the statistics that there are more women than there are men. So that way it makes it seems like it's like supply and demand, right? So if you believe that there are less men, and yes, there are, because we already know that a lot of our men, they're either dead, they're incarcerated, or different types of things like that. But but if you are already, you started off on the footing that you are already in a deficit, right? So who has the power? I think that's why a lot of the dating is how it is right now, because they believe that they have a lot to choose from. But in essence, we are the prize. We do have the right to say, yes, no, yeah, yes, you may come over here in my presence. No, you may not. And you can do all of that with your eyes, right?
That infamous "come hither" stare. I've heard about it.
Hither. Yes.
I've heard about it. I'm working on mastering it. So according to the author, this is how she breaks it down. Step
Having
one.
a hot flash, y'all.
Oh, I thought it was because the material was getting spicy.
No, it's the hot flash. It's the other thing. Okay. We got to find another book for that one.
So step one, get into his line of sight. Step two, give him the most inviting and receptive look you can manage for 3 seconds. Count them. Eye contact, eye contact, eye contact. And I realized after the fact why she said eye contact, because it takes you a second to say eye contact. No matter how fast you try to say it, eye contact, eye contact. If you look at the live stream number, eye contact, eye contact. So if you say eye contact in your head while you're doing it, it's 3 seconds if you say it 3 times.
And then you then you look away.
No, not at all. That's not what she says. So you look. He said no quick counts, no matter how nervous you get. And then at the end of the 3 seconds, because according to her, people can glance each other by mistake, But once you've looked at him for 3 seconds, 3 words of eye contact, and you smile.
Yes.
That is supposed to be enough.
That should be enough for him to come on over.
That's enough to, according to her, if he's a masculine man, that's enough to let him know that he has permission to approach you.
So listen, look at this. Al says it's the walk for me. When it turns it on, baby. Al said that walk get him every time. Al has that stride.
So can you model this walk for me?
Yeah, yes, we need the Al walk, exactly. Because she said she know when she got it. When it's turned on, it is all on. So this is my question though, because then, so when you're out, right, and you don't do that, what is the difference between the man who approaches you and you don't do any of that, and he approaches you simply because he's interested, right? You're not giving him any of that. Mm-hmm. Then you have this guy who you do all that to. What's the difference?
All that. That's 5 seconds of your time. All that.
Yeah, that's still 5 seconds. But you had to do that 5 second test to get his attention. But what if the other guy who was across the room, you did none of that? Actually, you didn't even see him. But he just came to you.
But then I think that's the difference between choosing who you want and letting somebody choose you. And I feel like a lot of times, I know for me, I had this little light bulb moment. And I told my mom this. I was like, Ma, you know that just because a guy asked me out, I don't have to say yes?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I didn't know. I just thought that it was nice and polite to say yes if somebody asked you out.
If they're crazy.
Mommy, no, not if they're crazy. So, but that's what I thought, that, if a guy asks you out, you have to say that. Not you have to say yes, but it's polite to say yes. Now, when I think about it in retrospect, it is kind of wasting that man's money, especially if he was trying to date you. So, you're trying to be but then you waste the money on the back end. So I don't know how nice that actually is. But I think that's the difference from what you were saying. I think that's the difference between actively choosing who you want to approach you versus letting whoever is interested come your way. Because think about it, he has to be interested to want to approach you anyways. So it
Al
also
says,
be more active in the process.
Al says because it's something he sees that you're not aware of. Al, what do you mean? Why the man walks to you? Is why that the man confronts you or approaches you is something that he sees in you that you're not aware of. Because I say that because so clarify that for me. But I say that because Mr. B did me like that. He did he and I tell y'all to know the story. I wasn't trying to date anybody. I didn't even want to go out that night. One of my girlfriends drugged me out. She begged me, please let's go out. And I was like, I don't want to go out. Yes. Okay. So she said, yes, that's what she meant. So if she's saying the reason a man approaches you is because it's something that he sees in you that you may not be aware of yourself. So, and I know I probably had this air about me that I did not want to be bothered because I truly didn't. I only went because my girl wanted to go. And I told her, we only going to be here 2 hours. We're going to go. We're going to, and then we're going to leave. And y'all notice I've shared the story. He saw me. He said he saw me from when I came into the building. When I came through the door, he saw me. And when I sat down, he watched me and he watched us sit at the table. And then he goes, the club where we were had like this catwalk that went across the club up in the air. He went up there and he perched himself up there like a hawk. And he was looking down on me. And my girlfriend said, do you know him? I know who. And I see this guy up there and he just staring. And I said, no, I don't know him. But I think that this could be part of what you said, Billy. Because I think when I looked up at him and he may have thought that I gave him that 3-second thing and he came down.
Because that's what I'm saying. Because if you look at what she's saying, first step, get into his line of sight. You're not forcing him to look at you. So if he's not interested, you guys aren't going to make eye contact anyways. But so technically with what you say, you did on a level, he believes it at least, give him that come hither stare. So he descended from his perch. And when it right?
Yes.
Right? Because it made me think of a guy that I had dated maybe I think it's maybe like a year ago, 2 years ago. So during that time I was working at Starbucks. And so I'm there, I'm in the drive-through area, I'm doing my thing. I see this guy walk in through the corner of my eye. All the other girls in there are just like, oh my God, he's so cute. He's coming in here. Oh my gosh. I'm sitting there, I'm just like, okay. I'm cleaning, doing what I need to do. He walks in the door. He looks at me like this and he beelines straight towards me. Mind you, I'm nowhere near the cash register, which is where somebody would be going to order their drink. He makes a beeline straight towards me. My face gets hot. I start sweating. I'm like, what is happening? So
you get nervous.
So I turn around, Miss Juani, I kid you not. I turn around and I'm just wiping the walls now. Just like I had to get out of there. So I kind of like bent down and I was like, I'm gonna go organize something in the back. So I left. And so
oh my goodness.
No, because like he comes up to the thing. Oh, no. Okay. So he comes up to the thing and he's just staring me down. So that's when I descend and I'm like, I'm gonna go clean something in the back. So I go maybe 2 weeks later, because they gave me the biggest, hardest time about that. They're just like, Melissa, he's interested. Come out here and say hi, say something. I'm just like, I'm just trying to work. So
yes.
So I'm over there. So then eventually I'm just like, you know what? He was cute. Let me give this guy a chance. So 2 weeks later, he comes back and I'm there studying, doing my thing, doing my thing. He's sitting across the room. I see him kind of look at me, and I look at him back. And in my mind, I had already decided if I saw him again, I was going to give this man a chance. So he looking at me. I look at him. You know, I smile. No, we just make eye contact. And then he goes back down to doing what he's doing. I go back down to doing what I'm doing. I'm just like, dang, he probably not interested anymore. So I feel like it became a challenge at that point, and I was like, I'm gonna get you to come over here. So, so I'm sitting there. I go back to doing it. He looks over again. We make eye contact. I smile, and then he goes like this, and then he goes back to his phone. I'm just like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, he gonna come over here. So I'm sitting there. I start doing it again because now it's a challenge. So I'm sitting there. I'm doing this. I'm just studying. I look over. He looks over. I wink, and then I wave, and I go back to studying. This man, I watch him get up, walk towards the door, stop there, he drops the drink, and he turns around and he's like, "Hi, my name is."
Oh my goodness!
But guess what? He got a refill. He got a refill. You know,
you gave him a refill.
I got, they got a good policy, so I hooked him up with a refill. But I really, it didn't work out. But I realized just now, telling this story, that I have used this. But it was more like, you gonna come over here, boy.
Because it was a challenge.
I realized I have not been used to a guy just being like, I'm gonna stare you down and I'm gonna approach you like you're what I want. And I was like, I don't even know you. I could be a serial killer. Oh, but then again, I don't know. It's the way the world works is. But one thing that she says, she gives some caution things. She said, because you're nervous, because he's somebody that you're interested in, your top lip could curl in to where you're like this because you're smiling.
Oh my goodness.
Your bottom lip could start quivering, and then you'll start sweating, which I realized I just started sweating. So her advice is, pro tip, never wear silk or pastels when you're trying to flirt, or when you know that you're going someplace to flirt, because apparently it shows the sweat.
My goodness.
He says never show sweat, it gives everything away.
No.
Oh, he speaks English. Look at that.
Yeah, Oliver. Y'all know.
And it says and it says don't show the sweat because it gives it away, but don't worry because he's so caught up in the possibility of being rejected that he's likely not to see it either.
So Al, she says, one thing she said that I thought was funny, because this is probably true. I'm sure it's true in this is that because I always been. She says, yeah, but you can't look at guys like that today because they think you want to take them home.
I mean, they're gonna think whatever they want to think. Whether or not I take them home is up to me, which won't happen. So
they are, yes, because that is always on men's mind.
Because I'm thinking, right? There was no way he could have done this, but if he could have set up a bad signal and let me know he was going to approach me, it would have been different. Because he was actually really cute, but I feel like had I been prepared, but I just wasn't prepared. And then this might be TMI, but no. And I was like, this is not. I was like, I'm melted down. I can't.
You melted. You was like, retreat.
She wasn't ready.
Oh my goodness. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. But Al says you ran and now you want him to come back. You have to understand your own feminine energy and what it does. So
explain it to me, Al. Come on,
Miss. Because you, and then probably when you looked up at him and he was like, oh my goodness. He didn't know what to do either. Yeah. And you see, he started to run. He started to run.
Yeah. I mean, it was so interesting because I smiled and I waved at him and he was like, his face blushed. I was like, oh, there we go. I was just like, oh, he liked the kid.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So
go ahead.
And another thing that she was saying is that something that girls do when they're nervous is they'll make eye contact with the guy that they're actually interested in, but because they're nervous, they'll switch and look at his friend. So she was like, basically her pledge then that she makes the women that she works with say is, I promise on my honor to flirt with the person I truly want, not the easy one. For it is difficult to get rid of the easy ones.
it's difficult to get rid of the easy ones. So, see, I hadn't done this in a long time. So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happens now. You know what? I'm like, because, okay, so at work, a lot of my coworkers, they say I flirt.
Ooh.
And I don't think I flirt, but they were like, you just have a way of having the men do what you want them to do. Or that it was like, you always flirting. And I was like, I'm not flirting. So it could be something that I don't know, that I'm not aware that I do. Because just like I say to you, I don't think I know how to flirt. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't do things intentionally thinking that I'm flirting, but a lot of my coworkers who are women, they say that I flirt.
Do you think it's because you're showing up in your feminine at work, whereas most people show up in their masculine at work?
It could be. It could be. I don't think that I like. So when I was at the other university, I would like have like my facilities guys. I could ask them at the drop of a dime. I have an event coming. I need you guys to come over here and break down this room for me and set it back up, right? So and they would do it. And so Mr. B was like, yeah, they come because you are sugaring them and dialing them. Oh, you thank you, darling. Oh, look at those muscles. And
It's that
he said he was and we was in California. So he said, you put all that sappy Southern charm on them, and then you sugar and dialing them. I said, okay, but now I'm back here at home. So what is it now? Because I don't sugar and darling nobody here, but I still get the same I get the responses like that from my counterparts. And so I don't know. I don't know if maybe I over exude femininity and I don't realize that I do, or I don't know. So when it's like flirting, I'm like, I don't know about flirting because I don't think I can flirt.
Listen, you're gonna make me watch you this weekend if you just exude femininity. Listen, if you just be exuding femininity, you're gonna make me watch you this weekend. You're gonna catch me like, what is Juani doing now?
Wait a minute, okay? Wait a minute. What easy was Juani flirts. V talk about I flirt all the time. She says I'm very flirtatious. I don't see it. I don't. She said that, Juani, you are very flirtatious. People always say that. I don't see it.
Oh goodness! Listen, you about to catch me in the sauna like this.
Okay, girl,
taking notes.
Drop the link. Oh God, V, watch what you say. Whatever you about to say. She was like, drop the link.
Mommy, remember girl code.
That's how you get. That's what she said. That's how you get ish done. All right, Al. Okay, here comes V. Oh my God, what Aunt Judy say?
You don't realize it. You have two set of voice. You have the voice you have a voice when we are hanging out at the house, when I'm at your house talking to Mr. B. And then when you are out, you have a totally different voice according to who's around. You change up.
Voice, Mom?
You change up. We and that man are walking around, and all of a sudden you start swinging, and then your voice is different, and then you're talking different. I was like, look at her.
I do that?
Yes. Millie, watch her this weekend.
I already said I'm going to be taking
She split the personality. She is real different. Just watch her. So she do.
Don't listen to her. So you see that? I
And the thing is, Mr. B knows it too.
really,
Yes, he knows it too.
I
That's
don't.
why he tells you what he tells you.
But your mom has never said that to me. I never knew that. You have never.
Well, what am I point you out for? You didn't ask me for any directions. I see
But you
you in
know what?
action. I just watch you.
He said, "Why am I gonna point you out for? You didn't ask me for any
But see, that goes back to my friends being with me because I don't. It's a lot of things I don't recognize about myself. I'm just being me, and just like what I told V, all of my friends, they were like, "Oh my God, you are just so bougie," and I was like, and when my male friend said that, and I was like, you haven't seen me in 30 years. Why do you still say that? He said, you've always been like that. But then when I said something to my girlfriend about it, and I've heard them say it or whatever, but they was like, well, but that's just you. We just deal with you.
1 second, mommy. You might need to turn down the volume on your phone so that it's not doing all the feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let me say this to you, Juani.
But
You're
so
meeting your mother, meeting
my
mom.
mom, mm-hmm,
Some of your ways, you see when she with me, how she behave.
mm-hmm.
Some of her ways, that's you.
I'm
It's
not
your
dealing
mom
with
you
you
get
right.
that from.
I'm not dealing with you right now.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not dealing with you right
yeah.
now.
She turned into a totally different person. When you
I
be
don't
like,
believe
who
that.
is she? Who is she?
Don't believe.
That's you.
Oh my. Says the person who glides down the aisles at Lowe's. Right.
Girl, we talking about me. We talking about you. Bye.
Bye.
Listen, my mom will have these men falling over themselves trying to hand her a ratchet in Lowe's.
Oh my goodness. I have seen them. I have seen them. Yes. I'm
So,
not thinking about Veronica at all.
okay, so according to the author, she who flirts first is female, and he who
Mm.
speaks first is male. So she was like, if you speak first, even accidentally, it sets a precedent that will continue for the rest of the relationship. If not, it could breed confusion for the rest of the relationship. Don't make it easy for him. Being spoken to first is distracting to a man who is used to seeing whom he wants sexually and then going after her before he hears her invitation to connect sexually. Having chasing space is a turn on for a masculine man. It is then that he begins to fall in love. Something else that she says is that men fall in love in the absence of a woman and women fall in love in the presence of a man. So it's interesting because something my mom always said is let a man miss you. And I didn't understand what
Mm-hmm.
that meant until reading this because there's a certain amount of space that's necessary for them to feel like they have to. Because think about it, if there's no distance, how you gonna chase?
Yes. Yes.
So I guess
But if it's too easy,
they don't
they
want
don't
it.
have to chase. Exactly. They don't want it. No dog don't want a piece of meat that's already, I mean, not a wolf. The wolf doesn't want a prey that's already dead. He wants something that he has to run after to get.
So I completely agree. As far as I don't think the author is saying to disregard the man who is actually interested in you. The author was saying that a lot of times because of chemical attraction, like what I experienced, I was like, I gotta get out of here. I'm telling you, I'm sweating just thinking about it. It's wild. So,
I think what Aunt Judy was saying, because you was like choosing not allow a man to choose you, but you choose the man. I mean the male. Remember when you said that earlier? So I think that's what she's talking about. And so she was saying she believe in wanting people who want you back. Yes, because then you can easily get into a situation where you end up pursuing someone, and that's not necessarily what you wanted to do, because someone can show you interest in the beginning and then it kind of fail, but you may have been interested in them, and so you end up being the one who's still trying to go after them.
and I think that's what she was. I mean, later on in the book, and of course, right? I brought everything that I read here to have.
Yes, the wolf analogy.
I brought everything here so that I could bounce it off people who have real world, real life experience. So I'm happy for this feedback and everything like that, because it's giving a lot more for me to be able to it gives more reference. It gives more reference.
Yes.
And then now this is her advice for dating as a quote unquote masculine female. Heel your shoes, dress well, and look as though you are responsible and a financially solvent person. Flirting for this woman is pretty straightforward. You walk over to a man you find attractive and speak first. If the first conversation interests you, then ask him for his phone number. Ask him on a date. Call him, send him a note, send flowers. You do the pursuing.
Woo!
Once you're on a date, don't forget that as with the feminine woman, the major sexual responder in the feminine man is his ears, which means that he wants to hear that you know how to pick a restaurant, order the wine, and pay the bill.
Oh my gosh. I don't want.
You almost out your seat. You almost left a whole seat.
Oh my goodness. All of that just rubbed me the wrong way.
But you know what? It's not uncommon. I've seen girls in college approach men. So it's not uncommon for, and I feel like that's the thing, because of this current, the author says this, that because of the way that our society is now, where the breakdown of gender roles, a girl thinks that she can approach a man and ask a man out on a date, and then later on is going to flip to where she's the feminine and he's the masculine. When you started off the relationship that way, you started off pursuing him.
Right. But then you end up being in that role, just like the author said, because I can definitely see that, because you're in the role now where you are chasing him. You're trying to vow for his affection. And but you cannot do that. Oh my goodness. That entire that whole paragraph that you
that
read,
entire sentence, she said throw it away.
just throw it away. No, because all of that, it just made me uncomfortable. And I think that like the dating, the young ladies who are doing that in this day and time, they are really setting themselves up. You're gonna set yourself up for like a lot of disappointment and heartbreak, and you are going to, you can really get into a very toxic relationship, because you end up, once again, now you could get in a situation where you want to flip the script. But why would he want to change? Because he's been getting all the benefits and all the rewards. You paying for everything, you're taking them out, you're buying them clothes, you're doing all this other stuff. And but then at the same time, but I think in a woman's, maybe in a young girl's or a lady's mind, I'm showing him, I got you back. I got your back. I can hold you down. But then on him, it could be like, oh, this is a good thing. I don't have to do nothing, and I'm getting all of this. Oh, this is cool. Heck, if I found somebody like that, I wouldn't leave either.
She said, I'm going to hold you down. What he thought is, so you're going to bend down so I can get a come up.
Exactly. Exactly.
So the next part, I agree with your mom's advice, but I don't think if you say hi or they say hi, it matters.
Yeah, she doesn't think it matters who says hi. Okay. So yeah, well, hi, and can I have your phone number? Or I think that's different. You can say hi to somebody, and that's one thing. But I think how the author put it, hi, how you doing? You single? Yeah, I'm single, or whatever the case may be. Like, give me your number. That is just so aggressive to me.
Yes. Now, it's interesting that you said about the number asking. Let me see. Should I? The man needs to feel. Well, the next portion, I'm not going to skip it. So the next portion, she says to investigate compatibility. When he walks over to you, you have two goals. One, to see if he's as good as he seems. And two, if you don't want to drive him away before. And you have two goals. The second goal is not to drive him away before you decide whether or not you want to keep him. And this is an excerpt that I took. A man needs to feel respected by the woman he is sexually attracted to, but all too often we manage to screw the whole thing up by criticizing his opinions, arguing about his philosophies, and generally making ourselves obnoxious. The end result is that he never asks us out, and we think he's a jerk.
Okay, read that again. I was reading Aunt Judy's. Aunt Judy. Aunt Judy has me captivated over here.
Thank you for keeping the conversation live in the chat.
Okay, read it again. I'm sorry.
A man needs to feel respected by the woman he is sexually attracted to, but all too often we manage to screw the whole thing up by criticizing his opinions, arguing about his philosophies, and generally making ourselves obnoxious. The end result is that he never asks us out, and we think he's a jerk.
I don't know if I have an opinion about that.
She said, well.
So
on to the next one.
Here come Aunt Judy. Tell us, Aunt Judy.
Okay, here I come. I had to come back here.
Okay.
Round two.
This woman is trying to make everything cut and dry.
Yes.
It's not this cut and dry. It's just not this cut and dry. This woman wants to put a game on it. Like a guy's gonna think you're playing, a very nice man is gonna think you're playing games. If you're just ignoring him on purpose, and then you know what I mean? It's like that's the thing men don't. Men number one don't want to play. They don't want people who are playing games. They might make eye contact. They might want to do the asking out. Yes. But once they do, you don't have to be like, I'm going to ignore you. And I'm not going to, you don't have to be like, okay, later for you. You know what I mean? It's like, and this woman is like telling you that, that you, like I was saying, I'm a dominant kind of female. But I told Uncle Craig, I ain't paying 50-50. You're going to pay for everything. I said, he said 50-50. I said 50-50 my behind. I ain't paying 50-50. You going to pay. You're going to pay. You're going to pay. You're going to pay. And he paid. Okay, he paid. And so, but I'm saying, it's like, this woman is acting like the woman has to become the man. Buying him clothes? What the heck? You saw Leela's
No, that's if you want the masculine role in the relationship. If you want to be the person whose career takes precedent, if you want to be the person
that's ridiculous, because you got women who are neurosurgeons who are married to a guy who's a teacher. She doesn't have to become a man. And we know that woman doctor is gonna make much more money, and we know they're living in the house they're living in because of her, because she's a brain surgeon, and we know he ain't living in the house because he's a teacher. But you never have to make a man feel small like he's the woman. You see what I mean? That's the thing. That way back when I was dating, I had a man tell me when I was dating, you know what, if you're gonna be a doctor and all, but you know, if it's me, then, you know, if you with me, we're going to have to, you know, live on my salary. And I said to him, I'm sorry, but we are not living. I said, my motto as a woman who makes more money is that if I got 9 cents and you got 1 cent, we got 10 cents.
That's right.
We have 10 cents. I'm not going to make you feel small about it. I'm not going to, you know what I mean?
That's
and
right.
That's the way, I guess I looked at my aunt, because our aunt is high-powered career and different than her husband. But like Leela was saying, she told you all that about how they get along and they're still married. It doesn't have to be, well, I make more money, so therefore I'm the man. I don't want to be the man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, this woman is, I know she had to sell a book. I'm going to give her that. But I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be that cut and dry of, if you make more, then you pay for everything, and you do this, and you take him out, and you sweep him off his feet. When we got married, Uncle Craig swept me off my feet and walked me over the threshold into our first little house. I didn't go, you know what? I make more money, so I'm going to sweep you up. Bring you in the house. And no. And if you come across a man who's like, how much money you make? do you make more than me? You have to be careful because that man might be a domineering man. You see what I mean? You just want somebody where you don't have to, where money, like I said, if I make 5 cents and he makes 2 cents, we got 7 cents. That's how you have to do it. You know what I mean? Like I was concerned, Melissa, when you said that this guy was staring you down. I thought he might have been a serial killer too. He was staring you down. But then when you decide to stare him, to make eye contact with him and make a cute little wave, and all you did was just make a cute little wave and everything. All of a sudden he gets up and runs away. I'm like, what the fuck was wrong with him?
He got scared.
Now, granted, I am condensing the story a lot for the sake of time.
Yeah, but because what is that about? You know what I mean? It's like the other, I forgot your name, the other lady.
Juani?
Lonnie. Like she said, her guy stared at her. She looked up. She looked down. She smiled. And it all went well. You see what I mean? She didn't say, no, I'm going to ignore you. You're staring at me. I'm going to ignore you. And he didn't come down. And, he went up high and looked down. And he didn't go walk up to her, straight up to her and just stare at her like, I want you. You know what I mean? He got up cute and a little high perch and looked down and like, I'm looking at you. He didn't go, I want to walk straight up to you in an aggressive manner and stare at you. And that would have been weird. You see what I mean?
Yes. Though, because I realized, right? So from the moment he walked into the door, we made eye contact, and he held that eye contact and made a beeline straight towards me. I was like, I don't even know what's happening here.
But that's what I'm saying.
On the safari, and I felt like I was gonna die.
He could have stood in line and glanced at you and looked away. To me, I've always used the make eye contact and then pull your eyes down and smile. I like that as flirting. Like he looked at you, you kind of cut your eyes away, but you smile.
See, that's what I thought. You kind of cut your eyes away, yeah.
And you smile at the same time. Like, I see you looked at me and I liked it. You see,
I'm still working on that. I'm gonna be honest, I'm still working on that. I gotta get my nerves under control. Because there'll be guys, they be looking at me like it's like more attractive. I find them. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I'm starting to sweat.
Well, you need to give you some better deodorant, and you're gonna not sweat, or you know what I mean. Put some underarm pads on. I don't know. The thing is that all of these things are happen in microseconds.
Yes,
they get it, and a guy gets a sense of. And like I said, this woman is saying that you have to be completely one other thing. And if you're not completely one thing, then you got to be the man and carry him over the threshold. That's BS. Or, you know what I mean? You can still glance at him and cut your eyes and smile. That's to her, that's not acceptable. You see what I mean? To her, he has to make the first eye contact. If he doesn't, then that's it. Versus you can smile, look at him, kind of cut your eyes away, smile a little bit, and then let him come over. A guy sometimes need to know that you're not gonna like. It's a guy at the old club. We used to go clubbing, the old club,
Plum Crazy. You guys got me so excited about Plum Crazy, and then I got old and it was gone.
Yeah, but I'm saying, sometimes guys, that's a hard thing to walk across the club and ask a woman to dance, and then she goes, I'm sorry, not right now. And then it's just really bad because it's like my thing was at a club was like, if you didn't come across and ask me first, and you asked her, she said no. You asked her, she said no. Don't come to me now,
because don't come talk to me now. Exactly.
So it's kind of like it is hard on men because they gotta go through a lot of rejection. You know what I mean? It's like,
but they don't do that now, Aunt Judy, because they don't go anywhere to do this. They don't go anywhere to meet. They meet online. How can you get rejected online?
That's true.
You get ghosted. That's how they do it nowadays.
You get ghosted?
I mean, at least I'm upfront. I let somebody know. I don't like lying. Sometimes I'm not always upfront. But
well, I mean, like we're saying, I agree. Don't spend somebody's money, because then they get mad. Then they might try to kill you, beat you up. If you go out and order all the food, and then you'd be like, I don't really like you. You know what I mean? I believe in honesty, I guess. Like, don't go out on the date if you kind of don't like him. You know.
Now, granted, I wasn't always told that it was a date. I just like, hey, do you want to go and hang out and grab some food? Okay.
That's not a date.
But in their mind, it was. Because at the end of it, I had a guy try to pull this one once. This is wild. So, because I went to go reach for the check, grab my portion. And then he was like, no, put his hands on top of mine and was like, I think he said something along the lines of, so, I'd like to pay for this if I get a second date. And I was like,
What?
Yeah.
I was like, maybe. Just because I was upset.
Well, I don't know if that would have been my answer. My answer would have been, I don't want to, if we have a second date, I don't want it to be confused by this first date. I don't want you to feel like, because then he feels like he's buying you.
Yes.
Because I'd be like, what comes at the end of the second date? I got to sleep with you?
Exactly, because you bought me a meal. Exactly.
A second meal? Now I got to sleep with you? I'd be like, how many could come with this?
Because you bought me chicken nuggets.
Not chicken nuggets. She said, I got a 4-piece.
You bought me a 4-piece Popeyes meal?
Yes.
And some shrimp, and now I got to sleep with you? I mean, so.
Yes.
So my mom was like, what about you? So what about this one guy? Well, I'm not going to name any names, mommy, because that's rude. So there was this one guy that I had met. I thought he was super cool, super fun, but I only really saw him as a friend. So I was like, yeah, let's go hang out. Let's have fun. You seem so cool. He could sing too. So I was like, oh, this is great. So we went out. After a couple months, I thought I really made a really nice friend down here. And then, he hits me with so what is this conversation? And I was like, we're friends. And then he ghosted me. And I was very sad because I thought I made a friend.
Well, you see, is I would have said this at the beginning. I would have said, you want to go out with me, and I see you as a friend. If you feel like you can accept that, I don't know that it won't develop into something. But if you feel like right now it's friendship, and if you feel like you can deal with that, then let's go out and have some fun. But if he would have probably extricated himself a long time ago if you had said that, because he would have been like, no, I really want you to date me. You see what I mean?
I'm gonna be honest, I thought he was gay though. The whole time I swore he was gay.
You can't tell with some men. You can't tell with some men. And you can't tell nowadays who's this bisexual stuff.
And the metrosexuals, and
tell with that either, so, and you can't ask either. I mean, Aunt Leela will bluntly ask a man.
Aunt Leela asked?
Yes, she did. Aunt Leela, are you on here? Aunt Leela, sign back in, Aunt Leela.
Oh, goodness.
Aunt Leela, sign back in.
Aunt Leela.
I know.
Aunt Leela has a whole questionnaire. Hold on.
No, I feel like Holy Spirit just brought something back to my remembrance.
Oh my goodness!
In the first 3 weeks or so of us hanging out, he invited me to brunch with all his friends. I should have known. I just thought I was meeting everybody. I was like, more friends.
Oh my goodness! You said more friends. Oh, I meant more friends.
I thought I was making more friends. I thought he was introducing me to his friends because I needed more of them.
Here comes Aunt Leela.
Aunt Leela,
she's talking about my questionnaire.
Aunt Leela has a whole story. Leela, you also got to tell the story about the guy who took you on a first date, because from what Mimi
which first? I've been on so many. Which first date?
The one where you went to the nursing home.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God! You went to the date at the nursing home?
Okay, so we're gonna bring it. Okay,
Leela, she's getting you back for the record. She's getting
yes. No, my questionnaire. I'm not going through the whole thing, but my questionnaire does include: have you ever been arrested, or convicted of a crime?
When do you give them the questionnaire, Aunt Leela?
No. It's not written. I asked these questions during our conversation.
During the first date. During the first date.
No, but here's the thing. That particular question, I don't ask now in my 50s, because if a man is working hard and earning a good, you know what I mean, earning a living and able to care for himself and his family or whatever, even if he was arrested 20, 30 years ago, clearly he's overcome that. That was a question I asked when I was in my 20s and 30s, because now we're looking at, we want to have kids, earning potential. Are you going to be able to get a job if you have a criminal conviction on your record? Is not, to me, is not so important at this age, because those who ended up being career criminals are career criminals and are not in my orbit. You know what
That's
I mean?
right. That's right.
But the other one I asked is, have you ever had any sexual contact whatsoever with a man?
Okay, Aunt Leela, but how do you ask that question?
Just like that.
Write that in.
Aunt Leela.
I'm gonna just ask the
So,
question.
the breadsticks were really good. Have you ever had it?
That's exactly how she says it.
Have you ever had? Because I don't want to play. And of course they can lie, but when you're looking in their face, you can tell if they're lying or not. And well, I hope I could tell. But the reason I don't ask, are you gay? Because there are men out here having sex with men who don't consider themselves gay.
That's true.
So my question is very specific. Have you ever had any kind of sexual contact with a man?
Okay, Aunt Leela. So when you ask that question, what kind of response do you get?
The most say no. Most say no. But if you're like, girl, you great, if you're like, what kind of question? If your first answer to me is, what kind of question is that? Then that says to me, Houston, we might have a little problem.
Oh my goodness.
And I would hope that if you ask, I would hope that they would tell. You know what I mean? That they would tell. And usually, like I said, if a man can't answer, if a man not skirts it, but right. Yes, Von Jessica. If he gets real mad at the question, he was with a man last night. That's right. That's right. So that's how it. But the nursing home date, I met a guy at a club. This is back when you can't club. Y'all don't club anymore. I was out at a club with my girlfriends on a Friday night. What is it? Red flag number. He came up. He chatted me up. He was nice. He was nice. Monopolized my whole time that night, but whatever. He was nice, but that should have been my red flag number one. But he monopolized my entire time that night. But he was nice. And I said to him, I have to work, and I don't mean like go punch a clock work. I had work I had to do. I had to go into, this is Melissa, pre-laptop. If you had work you had to do, you actually had to go into the office to do it. Right. Yeah. So I said to him, because he wanted to go out the next day. And I said, well, we can do lunch because I have to go to work first. I have to go to work, get some work done. He said, okay. No exaggerate. And we exchanged numbers. 6:00 the next morning, my phone was ringing and he was red flag number 2. He was begging to see me. Well, can't we go out for breakfast and then you go back and then you go into the office to work later on? Beg. Wore me down.
Oh no.
I said, okay, I will meet you for breakfast. He said his car was in the shop. So I went and picked him up. No, he met me at the breakfast spot. We had we talked, had a nice time talking. And I kept saying, I gotta go because I have work to do. Oh, we're having such a good time. So finally, when we left, he says, can you give me a ride home? And and I said, yes, I hear V laughing. I said, sure, no problem. I give it. And so I'm driving. We go to my car. I'm driving. And he says, well, I need to make a stop first because I knew his mother was in nursing care. That I knew. He said, Mom, I want to stop by and, drop something off with my mother at the nursing home. Just wait in the car. I'm not going to be any more than 10 minutes. Okay. We go to the nursing home. He gets out. He goes in. He comes right back out. hey, it's going to be a little longer than I thought. You want to come in and just wait in the lobby? All right. I wait in the lobby. He goes back in the back. Then he comes back to the lobby and gets me and says, hey, come back here with me. It's going to be a little longer than I thought. I go back with him into the community room. It's his mother's birthday party and all of his family is there. And he is fronting with me as if I am his girlfriend.
Oh,
and somebody actually came up to me and said, oh, how long have you known each other? And I said, I met him 12 hours ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I stayed. I was very upset, but I'm trying to be nice because I don't know these birthday. But I was very, because I didn't want to ruin her birthday. But I was very upset.
Yes.
So we left. I took him home. He said, call me, I want to make sure you get back to Jersey City safely. Call me when you get to because I was going over to a friend's house. Call me when you get back to Jersey City. So I ran some errands, and then I went to my girlfriend's house and I called him from there. Hey, just letting you know I got back to Jersey City safely. He cursed me out.
What?
That he was worried.
I'm missing something. There,
No. I'm serious. He was worried. He told me to call him back as soon as I got back to Jersey City, and how you just gallivanting around and you don't call me. It's been an hour since almost 2 hours since you dropped me off. And then he said, this is, black women always say they want a good black man. This is why we end up, but y'all don't respect us. And this is why we end up with white women. I said, click. And that was it.
Yes.
That was it.
She didn't spend a whole lot of time trying to argue with him, or that's what he wanted. Her to argue with him and convince him to just, when the crazies come, just click.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe that.
Worst date ever.
Worst date ever.
Ever. Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Mm-hmm. So Melissa, there's going to be a whole lot. Be very discerning, because see, here's the thing. When you look back to see, you asked earlier, well, what do you look back? You asked someone else, did you look back to see? When I look, even though it's just one 24-hour period, 20-hour period. When I look back,
happened in the span of 20 hours.
I met him Friday night, and this happened the next day, Saturday.
The next day.
Yeah, and when I look back, one of the things I realized is that a decent man, Melissa, when I said to him, I have work to do, he would have respected that. And he would have said, he wouldn't have called me at 6 a.m. trying to convince me to have breakfast with him. He might have called at 6 a.m. and say, hey, have a good day. Call me when you're done working.
Yes.
Yeah. But the fact that he monopolized my time, and I never did. I ended up having to work on Sunday. I never did get into the office that Saturday. So, but the fact that talking about a million, exactly, one red flag is a million to come. Yeah. But he didn't respect. So pay attention to those little, because it was you know why, Melissa? Because it was couched in, I'm so into you, I don't want to wait to see you this afternoon. I want to see you right now. And it sounds really nice, and oh my gosh, and he's so nice, and he's so enamored with me. And it wasn't that. It was control. It was control.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. I have a question. I got this one here. So according to the author as well, if a guy gives you his number, that's a red flag.
No.
Like, talking with a guy and he gives you his number instead of asking for yours, that's a red flag. She said this is a signal that he wants you to pursue him. And
it's a signal that he's a narcissist to me.
Or more likely that he's just trying to get another notch in his bedpost.
He's a narcissist.
Oh, you mean, wait a minute, which part? That he doesn't ask you for your number at all?
He gives you his instead of asking for yours.
Oh,
If he gives you his number,
For you to call
yes.
him.
oh,
That's a
instead of
narcissist.
saying, "Can I have your number?" Okay, I got
Instead
you.
of
Yeah.
asking for your number, he offers
Okay.
you his.
Okay,
No.
yeah,
Because she
no.
tells the story of a woman who that happened to, and she accepted the number because she thought, okay, calling him every time she called, either the call missed or his assistant had to call back or something like that. And eventually,
He's
when
a
she finally got to go over, he was just like, okay, I actually have some time. She went over to hang out with him. One thing led to another. They ended up sleeping together, and he completely ghosted her afterwards.
Yeah,
Of
but see,
course.
that's the thing. That's the thing right there. I would have exchanged numbers and taken his, and he would have taken mine, but I would not have called him.
I wouldn't have
I
called.
would not have called him. He would have had to call
Mhm.
me. I would have let it go 1, 2, 3,
Mhm.
4, 10 days, 20 days. He would have had to call me.
Yes, because some kind of times, I know. Well, back in the day, now I don't know how they do now, but back in the day, when you would go to a club, sometimes guys they would go out to see how many numbers they could
Yep,
get.
yep.
Or they'll give their numbers out to so many, women, or put your number or put my number in your phone, or they would do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a game to them. So yes, a lot of times they was trying to see who they could take home that night, or or who they could have set up for it's the weekend, so we can have somebody Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So she was saying that if he does offer you his number, don't take it. Tell him that you're not comfortable calling men. Give him yours, then wait for him to call you. Let him chase you, pursue you, woo you, and wow you, because that's his role, not yours.
But see, I would stop right there. I wouldn't even say, I feel uncomfortable taking your number. I would just look at him and say, no. He would
Yeah,
have to ask for my number. I wouldn't tell him
yeah.
he needed to ask for my number. Because then right there, we got a problem. If I got to
Mhm.
tell you how to do as a man,
Yeah.
you,
Yes.
you need to
Yeah.
be asking me for my number and then saying, and let me give you, and I would say, oh, okay, if I'm interested, and then say, let me give you mine. I'd say, oh, okay, thanks. But if I got to, you see what I mean? Also, if you got to do all the directing, you know what I mean? There
You're
shouldn't
already
be any directing. Like,
in a relationship.
I don't
Mhm.
feel comfortable taking
Exactly.
a man's number. I wouldn't be, we ain't having that conversation. If you say, here's my number, I'd be like, no, thank you. And then he'd have to come up on it. Well, number one, he would have already messed it up. But I'm saying he would have to come up from the beginning. Could I get your digits? Could I get your number? And then I'd say, well, okay, you do a little smile. Okay, here's my number. And then he'd say, let me, okay, let me give you my number too. And you'd be like, okay, there you go. But if it doesn't go like that, then he's already messed it up at that
And
point.
Odessa is right, because that crazy boy I went out with called, called, and called, and called, and called, and called.
Still after what he said to you?
Still
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yes, he continued to call and called and called and called and called. And we had caller ID. I just didn't answer. And finally, I moved and had my number changed. And obviously that's when the calls stopped. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Leila was good at doing a persona too. Tell them who you were on Leila.
You talking about Denise?
Yes.
You were no, you didn't.
If a guy approached me at a club and he seemed pushy or weird or odd,
Mm-hmm.
or just approached me wrong, I
Mm-hmm.
would give him a fake name.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
She was
Yes.
Angela for so long.
Oh,
And
yes, yes. You said, call a man now. When you get his number, you're thirsty.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
I kid you not, right? Vandessa talked Miss Vandessa, because my mama's still not gonna have me call nobody anybody by their first name. You see her sandal come up here in a second. Miss Vandessa.
Yes.
My block list.
Are you serious?
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Welcome.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'd be like
I didn't
that.
know you can do that. That's that doggone millennial generation Z people.
Not a block.
I
I'm
never
telling
you
it was-
can have a block list.
especially with this online dating thing. There was this one guy, especially, his name on there was your future husband, and I was like, "Is that Jesus trying to let me know that's him?" I was like,
Narcissist. That's a
Yes.
So eventually, mind you, at first I'm like, mommy, no, like his profile is kind of interesting. I don't know if I should swipe right on him. And she was just like, yeah, Melissa, what? If he told you that he was gonna beat you, would you date him? I was like, no. She was like, well, he's just being upfront about what he wants. So I was like, all right. So I talked to him. His first message is, you look like you could be my future wife. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, well, that's a compliment. Thank you, I guess. I mean,
to me,
I was like, thank you.
It's drawing people in. You see what I mean? I would look at him like, this is a line. This is a line. How many other people you use this line on? If he said that, my future wife, I'd be like, you got to show me that with calling me and all that you want me to be your future wife. I don't want to hear from the first moment out your lips, you my future wife. I'd be like, yeah, you said that to Denise and to Candy.
Yes.
Wait, it gets better. So my next message to him is, wow, after salvation, the person you choose is the second most important decision you'll make in your life. I was just like, that's a huge compliment, I guess. And then he was just like, oh, his next message was, it was something weird. And then eventually I showed Edgar, I was like, and then he was just like, he basically gives his whole bio. And then he was just like, I would like for us to date and then get to know each other seriously and then engaged and then married. And I would like 5 children. And I was like, whoa, this is the second message I exchanged with this guy.
Oh, that's scary.
So I showed Edgar. Edgar was like, nah, he's weird. He was just like,
some people say all that though, Mimi, to get women into a stable. Like we have a friend, me and Ali have a friend that the guy did all of that. Like you're this, you're wonderful, you're this, and then he started pulling back.
Yeah.
Because and then after he got all excited and all this and all that, and it's going well, and it says, and then he just started to pull back. And I was like, I would ghost him at that point and then make him start coming after me. She was like, but he did this, but he did that. I'm like, no. If he did all this and now he's pulling back, then you need to, I'm not saying cut him out, but I'm saying at this point, you need to stop.
He won't admit it. This is just from our observing him and knowing him for 20 years that it's his stick, his spiel.
Yes.
This and oh my god, he's making
them everything he thinks they want to hear.
Exactly, and they fall for it all the
yes.
So right, he sends his number right after that. I don't message back for at least 2. It has to be like 2 weeks. And then my mom finally convinced me. She was just like, Melissa, he just knows what he wants. So I was like, okay.
Oh, V.
So I give him my number.
I said maybe.
I wouldn't have texted him on a maybe. But because I mean, my mom, you know what I'm saying? Listen, if she said I should talk to him, maybe. So
but did he have your number? Did he have your number?
No, but he gave me his. So when I texted him, he now has my number. Oh, he now had my number.
Did he ask for your number?
He asked for my number at first, and then after 3 days, when I didn't give him my number, he responded. He gave his.
Okay, but at least he asked. Okay.
Yes. So first conversation.
Don't you have that for your generation where you could generate a number that's a fake number that still comes to you? That you could generate a number.
Yes.
They have that for you. That you could generate.
Do that?
There's an app. Yes, there's an app for that.
Yeah. So you.
There is. Yes.
You can get somebody and feel confident because, like you see everybody saying, people call it 50 times, and you could give them your number and give them the number that will always come to you. But that way, if it doesn't work out, it's not your real number.
True, and my block list doesn't have to be that long.
Right. Your block list is incredibly long.
Yes.
So we get on the phone, first conversation. Hey, so he's going. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So we talking for a little bit, and then he was like, so do you have any questions for me? And I was like, so where do you get your principles from?
Fondessa is a nut.
I love it. I love it.
One. That's hilarious. She's hilarious.
She is.
Yep.
On every woman that they meet until it works. That's true, because it's gonna work on somebody.
Yeah, somebody.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm on the phone with him, and I ask him. Oh, my first question to him is, so where do you get your principles from? Like, what do you believe and all that kind of stuff. And his thing was, ugh, this question again. I'm like,
I would say click.
I was like, listen, and then he just goes on this rant. Last girl I talked to that, I thought it was really good and I liked her and everything. And then it was this religion thing. Like, I don't care what anybody believes. Everybody's just so strict, and they're just so judgmental.
Listen,
why that's important to me. And if it's not important to you, we need
for you. He's not for you. He will never be for you, because you have somebody. I'm not married, but I know enough to know you need to have somebody when it comes to certain fundamentals like that. Even
like that's wild.
You need to be in alignment.
Yes.
And not only where you're not in alignment, sounds like he didn't have any respect for your beliefs.
Exactly. He has to demean to try. He was demeaning you to see if you power down to that. Like, well, I don't know what I really believe. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. People like that. See, that's what I'm saying. You can't be like, you can't let people will show, as Maya Angelou says, people show you who they are. Believe
they sure do.
So, you guys says that to you. Well, why is it this question again? I'd be like, you know what? That's important to me. So we're ending the conversation right now. Click. I wouldn't even have a discussion with him. Click.
Yes.
I would put it like this. I messaged him shortly afterwards and I told him, thank you for your time and everything like that. I just don't see this working out. I hope you find the woman that you're looking for. God bless, everything. I block him immediately afterwards because I could tell he's not going to be the type of person to take no. Now, I get a friend request on Facebook. I get a follow request on Instagram. I'm like, oh, snap. He going to find me. Actually, let me not speak that out loud. He not going to find me. I'm unfindable.
Yes.
But yes, I get what you're talking about on Lila. Yeah. That, if a guy seems really, really eager, that, sometimes, it's not always a good thing.
No, but I think the thing is that in the eagerness, you gotta, there's earnestness, and you've gotta, I don't know if your mom, you gotta look for a guy. And when I look at people who have, the men really love them. They're willing to, how can I, what am I trying to say? They listen. I mean, I'll just say this, V. I know, and I'm not going to tell it, but the story about what is it called? The sewing thing? What's that thing? What's that thing called? You know what I'm talking about, V? The figure?
Oh, the dress form?
Dress form.
Oh, her story with Pops. Yes.
Yes. I knew then when she told me that story, that man was her husband. Because he listened to her. And he loved her. He listened and cared for her to support something she want. And it's not always like that. Like Judy tells, a story of, I'm telling your business again, Judy.
You got a warning, right?
There was a time when she needed a CPAP machine. Yes. And I don't know what was wrong. She didn't have one or whatever.
So I couldn't get an appointment.
Her husband gave her his
coverage. Didn't have coverage on it.
And her husband gave her his.
Yeah.
Now he got one, needs one. He needs to sleep without one so she can have one.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yes. Yes.
So he let me breathe.
He let me breathe. He took away from the years of his life to let me breathe during that 3-4 months. 3-4 months it went. And I mean, Lilo's right. It really was a loving act because he needed it too. But he let me have it.
He let you have it. He said.
So it's that kind of thing that you look for. You know what I mean? Do they?
Are they selfless?
Right. selfless? Do they demonstrate selflessness towards you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so then how do you tell the difference between demonstrating selflessness and trying to love bomb you then?
Love
Because
bomb.
love bomb is usually not about what you really want. It's
Yes.
about what he
They
thinks.
think what they want you to want.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
what he thinks you want. You know, you could say I'm not a flowers person in some sort of conversation at some point, but he didn't hear that because he sees romance movies and he hears women like flowers. And next thing you know, he's showering you with flowers.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You're
while you're
allergic to them.
bowled over.
You're allergic to I
You're
am
allergic
allergic
to
to
'em.
pollen.
You know, where you might have said at some point in a conversation, but he really wasn't listening, that
Mm-hmm.
every morning you like, you know,
I
you
guess.
like you like going and getting a Starbucks uh caramel macchiato every morning. But he didn't hear that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the guy who shows up, not shows up, but you know, comes to pick you up for something and he has the Starbucks macchiato the way you drink
Yes.
because he listened to you
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
not just going through motions of what he thinks women believe
Yes.
Yes.
is romantic.
That
Mm-hmm.
makes sense though. Beeline guy from Starbucks. I had mentioned I think that I really like Al Green, and then one day we met up to do some work together, and we was listening to music together, and he played that song. I was like, "This song is so good! I'm glad you like." You know, I thought we was just happening. He was just like, "Yeah, you told me." I was like,
Yeah, that's the kind of thing.
Yes.
"Oh." And then last gem from this, she gives some advice on how to handle dating in the business setting. Like, you know, if you meet a guy that you think that you're interested in at work, according to her, everybody's masculine. So handle business first, and then afterwards be in your feminine and let him approach you. Do not approach him again. You let him be the first one to speak again.
Okay, let me just speak up here because this is what I do at work. When all
Uh-oh.
those relationships go
Uh-oh.
south, when all those relationships go south, they coming in my office crying
Exactly.
heartbreak. So let me tell you something about dating at work.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the kind of person, male or female, who wears their heart on their sleeve, who gets hurt very easily when things don't go well, who
Mm-hmm.
holds grudges, who
Mm.
wants to take revenge, who's not able to say, you know what, this
That
was a
worked
good
out.
run, but you know, I'm sorry that this is not working for you or me, and you know, and we'll go our separate ways, that kind of thing. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need to date at work.
No,
You
you
don't need
don't.
to date at work. Because I've
Mm.
seen two men, both ways, men and women,
Mm-hmm.
stalking each other at work. And particularly if you're at a large workplace where they might move on to somebody else, and God
Yes.
forbid if the somebody else works out. Now
Oh my
you
goodness.
know that you're not productive because you sit. Listen, this is
Yes.
what I do every day. Don't.
Mm-mm, don't do. Or the person that you was dating now becomes your supervisor.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, 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 yes.
yes.
It
Yeah.
sounds like there's a story there.
Huh?
Hmm?
Sounds like there's a story there.
No, but remember that's what I do, Melissa. I'm,
Oh,
you know,
Mm-hmm.
I
We're
not
just,
just my
we're just,
office handles those investigations, and a lot of those sexual harassment
Mm-hmm.
investigations. Let me not say a lot. A good number of sexual harassment investigations are really just relationships that did not work out.
Exactly.
Okay. And then the
Mhm.
last gem of this chapter that she has is no sex without commitment.
I would agree with that.
I definitely agree with that. But what is a commitment? Because a commitment to a man is different from a commitment to a woman.
yeah. That's true.
He goes into what that means later on.
Okay.
She goes, so the author speaks about chemistry, compatibility, and communication. And this chapter 9 is called Finding Your Prince. Chemistry is sexual attraction and is non-negotiable. If you're not attracted to him, don't fake it or overlook it.
Mm.
Do we agree with that?
I agree.
Definitely.
But I'd also say you knew that a long time ago before you started dating.
Yes.
Okay. Yes,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yes.
Now, compatibility is whether or not your morals, ethics, communication, and direction, all the things that make up a good friendship, as well as a loving romantic relationship. So that's compatibility. And she says communication is how you get to know who he really is and how he gets to know who you really are. This is where you find out if your masculine man knows what he thinks and wants and is willing to ask you how you feel about it. So according to her, in the masculine male, feminine female dynamic, the man is the one who gives direction and decides the leadership and all that kind of stuff. And so he wants to be respected based on what he thinks. And the feminine female wants to be cherished based on what she feels. And so during this communication / dating phase, you get a chance to see his leadership capabilities and whether or not he's willing to check in with you about what he's doing so that you know whether or not you guys will work out together, if that's the dynamic that you choose.
I agree with Judy when she says it's not always that cut and dry. Because remember, I told you our grandparents, you know, my grandpa Lawrence was a man's man, you know. But he knew that she was, I think, part of I guess the reason I say it sounds so cut and dry and leadership and checking in, part of being a good leader is recognizing what your strengths and weaknesses are. And if you're a great leader, you know that if I'm not good with money and my wife is, you know, fantastic with money, then I'm turning that over to her.
That makes sense.
Good. And so I just, yeah.
And now, according to her, the rules of engagement is you can wait up to 8 weeks for him to respond. After that, he's gone.
When you say engagement, you mean for him to contact?
Yeah, like rules of engagement, like being in like communication during the day.
8 weeks is a long time
to contact you. 8 weeks.
I mean,
so according to her, men fall in love in the absence of a woman, and women fall in love in the presence of a man.
I would say this: if a man didn't okay, I would say this: if a man didn't make contact with me for 8 weeks, I would look at it as he's got somebody he likes better.
He's not interested.
That's just
and
like
if he comes back around 9 or 10 weeks, and if he comes back around 9 or 10 weeks later, then whatever that something better was didn't work out.
Yes,
and I'm the consolation prize.
That's like when the man walks across the dance floor. Y'all will never know this, but you be standing there watching the man. He walk across the dance floor, go to Sally over there. Talking about, you want to dance? She be not right now. And then he'd walk over to Brenda. Would you like to dance, lady? And no, I would not. And then comes over to you. I just look at him like, keep walking.
Yeah,
like
keep walking. Yes.
I'm not sloppy seconds or thirds. Somebody's got 8 weeks. You ain't got 8 weeks. From the moment, and I'm going to tell you, from the moment, because I run a little faster than Aunt Leila, from the moment that you say hello to me and ask me for my number, I expect you to call me the next day.
Yes.
I expect you to call me. If you are truly interested, then I expect you, like here's that book. The one thing I love about that book, He's Not That Into You. It was a book that was...
Oh, I remember it, yes.
Early 2000s, is that he said, your phone will dial, his phone would dial itself when it came to his wife. When he met his wife, the phone would the phone would butt dial her on its own. And he says, he made a good point, which is, he didn't wait he waited till the next day, but he was always trying to call her. Like he was trying to call her. You could tell a man's interest. And he's like, and that's why to me, you could respond. I'm not like, okay, well, he called and I'm not calling. I don't have rules like that. But he needs to call.
Yes.
It's the next step. For me to know he's interested.
8 weeks. So that almost says what she's saying. You need to wait. You're waiting around for him to call.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to find the section where she's talking about it, but I don't necessarily think that she's saying, and granted, I'm not here to defend her or anything like that. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not misrepresenting her.
Yeah, but what you're saying is that he's going through his first and second and you sloppy thirds.
He gonna get to you. So when he get to you, you just be available and ready.
Yes.
And I agree with Aunt Leila and Aunt Judy in what they're saying, because I honestly believe that if a man is interested in you, he's gonna let you know that he's interested in you. when I told you guys when I met Mr. B, y'all okay, you heard the first part of the story, but when he gave me his number, no, when we left because he asked me that night would I want to go to breakfast. Well, I was like, yes, I'll go to breakfast with you because he monopolized all my time at the club. And I figured the least you could do is feed me. And so we went to breakfast. And so he was like Aunt Leela's guy or person, when you get home, call me so I know you got home okay. But I didn't like him. Right? I wasn't interested because I told you I didn't want to be with nobody. It was a breakup. I didn't want to be with nobody. And so, but when I arrived home, I did not call him.
But he didn't curse you out either, did he?
No, he didn't curse me out. He called me and I didn't answer. I wasn't home. And so my sister answers the phone. She's so gullible. And so when I get home, she go, Juani, this nice young man called and he was so concerned about you. I'm like, what? So she can remember his name. When she said something, I said, Derek, yes. He said that he told you to call him to let him know that you got home and you didn't call him. I said, no. Well, why you didn't call? Because I didn't want to. But he kept calling me. He kept calling me. I want to take you out. You want to go out Monday? No, I don't want to go out Monday. He kept calling. You want to go out Wednesday? No, I'm sick. I'll bring you some soup. My sister here, she can make me some soup. But he kept calling me until I said I would go out.
But you notice that what she's saying, Mimi. Listen what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
He had his hat in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't saying, I've identified you and you gonna go out with me. See, it wasn't caveman. It was like, please, baby, please. Like there was a movie. Please, baby, please, baby, please, baby. What was that Spike? Please, baby, please, baby, please, baby, please. He was begging of her, please, I really want to be with you. Please. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, you see what I mean? That's the difference. He was making the calls, but he was also he was making himself like, I really want to be with you. Please choose me. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where this woman is saying, you got to do all this, and that's going to come with his caveman and knock you upside the head and drag you to his cave. And you have to be standing there waiting to be dragged to a cave.
Just wait.
What you're hearing
wait 8 weeks. Wait 8 weeks to be dragged.
Yes. Just wait. Yes.
Wait.
So I'm going to give you some more context. So according to her, waiting is hell.
There ain't enough context in the world.
Waiting is hell, but I maintain that a man is not gone unless it has been 8 weeks, because it can take that long for him to process his decision.
What?
For 4 weeks, 4 weeks, a man can usually keep himself busy dating, working, living with dating. But if he's really interested, somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks, he will begin to
No.
So she's saying he's gonna spend all this other
doormats.
Did you hear what you just read, Melissa? He's dating. He's dating women that he finds more interesting than you.
And if he gets to you, you be happy.
And also, then if he gets to you and you are not the number one, guess what? You're never going to be the number one.
Mm-hmm.
While you're dating him, he's going to be looking for other people.
All right, so throw the book away.
No.
Well,
throw her book away. Yeah.
No. You can always cousin Jean always said, chew on it, spit out what you don't want, and keep what's right. You know what's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, but don't. Because the thing about it is, you're not his option.
Yes.
You're not an option.
Yes.
And I would not put myself in a situation where he has choices.
Yes.
You don't get to choose.
Yes.
And you don't have that much control. You know what I mean? So you ain't nobody's option.
Yes.
If you're not the main choice, you're not an option. You just won't be on the menu.
Yes. And that's what this woman is telling. is that you can wait and at his leisure, he will
Mm-hmm.
decide if he wants to choose you. BS, BS. That's gonna be a man that's gonna always gonna then choose. He can be dating you. You can have his kids. Looking for somebody else to choose. No, 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 no.
Okay.
Somebody said throw the whole book in the trash.
I was saying, like,
I agree with you, Al. I agree with you, Al. I agree with you, Al. Because that's the bunch of BS. 8 weeks, that's a bunch of BS. And she talking about just make yourself available when he calls. Be happy. It's like a book from the 1950s. And when he calls in 8 weeks,
Yes.
just sound lively and excited that he made you his choice. BS. Be
Yes.
like, Negro, you took 8 weeks to
not
come.
Negro.
I feel like the dance floor. You went as Sally, you as Brenda, you as I had one guy, I watched him, 4 people, 5 people. He finally come over to me, which on the same song. I'm like, brother man, he
On the
needed
same song.
you needed to wait because you don't
Injury.
get when you pick 4th or 5th. No,
Yes. No.
you need to wait a whole nother song and then come back
Okay.
and choose me first.
And choose me first. Exactly. Walk around the club and come back.
I walk all around the club. Wait till a new song. Walk all around the club and then come choose me first.
Oh goodness.
Yes. But we have to
Yeah.
remember the book
She's
was written in the
unnecessary.
80s.
Oh, it's from the 1980s, right?
Yes,
Right.
it's from the 1980s.
But even in 1980s, I wasn't waiting 8 weeks.
Oh yeah, we weren't waiting 8 weeks. No. No.
That was in the 1980s where I was like, you need to get away from me if you already asked for people to dance. And you got sidle up to me. Would you like to dance? No. Because you already asked something you asked him, motherfucker.
No, I don't want to dance. I don't like this song.
No, you asked 4
I
other
really
people
don't like
before
it
me.
now.
Yeah, you asked 4 other people before me. So you know what? No.
So I think so. Pro tip, one of the pro tips that she gives is when he tells you about his plans, think about what compromises you might have to make think about Jesus. Oh, when he tells you his plans, think about what compromises you might have to make in order for him to attain his goals. Example,
What?
find out
Oh,
Oh gosh.
Look at
if you
Judy.
find out that this terrific man is saving his money to buy an Alaskan shrimp boat, you may have quickly run into a non-negotiable snag, and the relationship may be better off ending before you get involved and before one of or both of you gets hurt.
Well, I do that. I agree. I agree with what she's saying. Listen to the plans, because if the plan is to buy a shrimp boat in Alaska, you know you don't want to live on a shrimp boat in Alaska. But the part about what compromises you may need to make,
yes.
maybe it's the line, maybe it's the word choice.
Well, no, it's not the words. She's very intentional about her words. You may have to make compromises as a couple.
Yes.
As a couple, you decide together, we are going to save for this, or we are going to live here until we can afford to live there. You as a couple. But that's what, you see what we're saying, Mimi? You there's compromises as a couple that you decide, but not
one person decides.
Now
yes, you're not making it so that, you know.
So people are in this book are dating with the intentions of marriage.
I think you can still date with the intention of marriage.
You're going to be in a better marriage
make decisions.
If you do what we're telling you to do.
Yeah, you can still date with the intention of marriage, and I think it is important to learn a person's dreams when you're dating with the intentions. I dated somebody several years ago, briefly, who wanted to, live in the islands. Wanted to leave the United States and live in the Caribbean. And, and I was like, okay, but I'm not trying to live in the and here's the thing, we didn't get married. It didn't go anywhere. And guess where he is now, 20-something years later, living in the Caribbean, which was his goal. But that was never going to be me, because my mama, to be near my mama. I need to be near my mama. But I mean, I'm not like that, but you know what I'm saying. But
Yes,
but
yes.
it what my dream wasn't to ditch the United States and go live, in a hut in the Caribbean. That wasn't my
You're
dream.
not living in huts in the Caribbean, Leela.
Okay, no, I don't mean hut, but I mean no. No. But that was his dream. I
Yes.
know they're not huts in the Caribbean, but his dream was to be
Mhm.
an off the grid kind of
Oh
living.
no.
That's
No.
what I'm saying in the Caribbean. That's
Mhm.
no AC, just kind of living off the land somewhere.
Mhm.
That was his dream. So yes, I think when you're because if you don't, you end
Mhm.
up marrying a person, and next thing you know, either you're getting a divorce or you're living in a hut with no AC in the Caribbean.
No.
That was
With
not
no
happening.
AC. That
And
was
then,
not what.
you
And
know
you're
the
not
Dave
happy.
Chappelle thing where it's like when keeping it real goes terribly wrong.
Yes,
Yes.
Like questions goes terribly wrong.
yeah. So
Yes.
With a coat hanger trying to get some reception.
But I guess when I
Ow.
hear her say what compromises you need to make, almost like you're listening to a guy and instead of listening, saying, our lives what he wants can work well with what I want. So we should move forward. It sounds almost like she's saying,
Mhm.
okay, what is it that he wants? Okay, what am I going to have to give up
So
to,
that he can get.
to
Mhm.
contort myself
Mhm.
into something that may not be who I really am,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
so I can capture this man. And the problem with that is that if you turn yourself, like I said, I'm not married, just for an observer, if you
Yes.
turn yourself into someone you're not,
Mhm.
just to get this man to marry, to be married to this man,
Mhm.
in the end you're not going to be happy.
You're
I
not, and you're going to start
agree.
saying what you really think, and then he's going to say you changed.
Yes.
You didn't
Yes.
change. You didn't change. You were
Mhm.
just hiding what you really thought.
Yes. Exactly.
And I feel like this definitely leads into the next thing. The only way you know you love yourself and others is by the commitments you are willing to make and keep.
Okay, she got a lot of little taglines she trying to say.
Yes.
I don't necessarily know if I agree with all. Ain't about love ain't about commitments you keep. I mean, she writing a book. She trying to sound wax poetic and all that.
Yes.
But
Her book to
What
me,
do you think about it?
it just a lot of the things. Okay, we keep having to remind ourselves this was in the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
I was a kid. I mean, I think maybe I was 11 or 12, but I also think about who was her target
Right.
audience.
Right.
So I don't think her target audience was us,
Right.
right?
well, it was because me and
No,
Alita were.
no. She means
No,
black women. She means
black
black
women.
women.
Oh.
Oh.
Yes. So I
Because
don't
I'm saying
think.
we were in the marrying years in the 80s. Me and Aunt Lila were in the marrying years in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yes.
all the 80s, Judy. I was
Not
in
all the 80s. Not all the
part of
80s.
the
They
80s.
say not all the 80s,
The
just a little
last,
bit of the 80s.
the last part of the 80s, we were thinking marriage is,
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know how, but I also think that um Caucasian women they think differently. I do, and I could be wrong. I'm not Caucasian, but it just seems. Of course, I'm not, but it just seems like from my experience of what I've seen a lot of them kind of muffle their voice,
yes.
and they curtail their views to what their spouses are. So it's almost like they lose their identity
Yeah.
to kind of conform to what their spouse wants.
Yeah,
We,
but
on the other hand, I think we've been like taught, you better say something. You need to
yeah,
be vocal. You don't want to do it, say you don't want to do it. I don't want to do that or whatever, and not be, feel like you're undermining your partner or whatever by saying that you don't want or that you're not listening. You're just stating what your opinion is. You don't agree. I don't think there's nothing wrong with saying that I don't agree with something or that I don't want to do it or whatever the case may be, instead of me just going along with it and being unhappy and letting whatever his rules is, what his views are, what that is of what is going to make the family successful. And it may not necessarily be that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to this again. I'm not saying this to defend her. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not misrepresenting what she's saying, because I'm the one that's writing these questions and choosing the excerpts. You get what I'm saying? So, so what do you want? We gotta wait 8 weeks for you to call. Wait for you to buy.
That's all we doing is waiting. We're just waiting.
Yes.
Waiting.
Yes.
Melissa, I better not hear about you waiting 8 weeks for some man to call.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I'm gonna come break it up. Break it up.
Break it up. No. Girl, he ain't calling.
So now the next one. The author advises women to beware of equality. Equality ruins the romance between a man who craves to be cherished. If he asks you to pay half, you say something like, "You have every right to ask me to split the cost of our dates. However, I am not comfortable doing that. I respect men who want to protect and cherish me. I feel safe and secure with them, which allows me to be more vulnerable and intimate, especially sexually. Do you want?"
What you're gonna say all of that to him?
Do you want this? Wait, do you want
Too
this?
much talking.
Wait,
No.
You just do what I said.
This is what I say, do, Melissa. If he says we're going 50-50, I will pay my half, and then I will never take another call from him again.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Exactly.
About I don't feel comfortable. I want my man.
And a sex into this on the date about 50. I would say, and like I told you, me and Uncle Craig had a conversation about dates and 50-50. And he said, and all I said was, I don't do 50-50. I said, you need to romance me. You gonna pay. Ain't no 50-50. That's all I said.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
And I will say this about Uncle Craig. Listen to me, my brother-in-law, Uncle Craig. He wasn't making a lot of money back then, so he took her where he could afford to take her and made it special, unique, based on what he could have. Tell about the Valentine's Day. Tell about the Valentine's Day.
Story time.
I'm gonna tell you another story first. He took me to New York. He was at a conference in New York. He was in graduate school, and he said, "Meet me in New York at this graduate school conference that he was at." And I was in medical school. He was in graduate school, so he kept taking me to this pizza place to eat. And and like I said, I knew he was a graduate student, so you know what? I didn't pay for a thing. He bought my ticket to come up there to New York. I stayed in his room. I'm not gonna say, but yes, I'm not all about that waiting on us having sex. Anyway,
she said, "I ain't with all of that. I need to know what I'm dealing with."
But you know what? I'm not. That's just me. If you want to wait, do wait if you want to wait. But I didn't wait. I'm just saying. So he had paid for the room. He paid for my ticket. And then some things went along with that. One time he bought my ticket and had me on a bus. I'm like, I'm on a bus. Why am I on a bus? I said, why am I on a bus? He said, well, that's what I can afford. I said, okay. And then one time he said, okay, we were in New York City and he bought my ticket. I flew up there. He bought my ticket. And then we were at the hotel, and then he kept taking me to a pizza place. And then finally, it was a Black Caribbean woman who was serving the pizza. And finally, she said to him, like on the third day, she said, "You got this beautiful girl." I can't do the accent, but she said, "You got," in a Caribbean accent, she said, "You got this beautiful girl. Don't bring her here again."
Oh my goodness.
Take her to a nice place. Don't bring her here again. Cracking up. And Craig was cracking up, and we were laughing. And he
I said, "Oh."
That took me to Chinatown to a Chinese restaurant, but she had to tell him. But see, I was willing. I was willing to go to the place he could afford. And
Mm-hmm.
but then the Caribbean lady said to him, "There's a beautiful girl. Don't bring her here again." And I was like, "Yeah," but I didn't say it. But I was thinking, "Yeah."
But he paid for everything, Melissa. He
Everything.
say, let's
Mm-hmm.
do 50-50 and go someplace nicer.
Yeah, he
Right.
just, yeah, he paid for everything. So I was eating pizza on the third day. Then she said, "Don't bring her here again." And I said, "Yay." And then he took me somewhere nice. But what was I saying? There was another thing I was saying
That's
about.
not even the story. Oh
No,
goodness.
I'm saying then there
That's
was a
good.
story about how he didn't have any money. So on Valentine's Day, he was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, doing his graduate work. I was in North Carolina finishing school. He didn't have any money, so he sent me a Valentine's Day box, and inside he had cut out all these hearts, pink hearts, and he had written love in 50 different languages.
Oh,
Yes, one on each heart, and he had all these little cheapo M&Ms in there and all kind. But it was so sweet, and I didn't mind because I knew he didn't have no money, and it was the sweetest thing. It was very sweet,
Aw.
very
that was
sweet,
very sweet.
I'm,
very.
I'm gonna message Uncle Craig and be like, I see you, player.
Okay.
Yeah, he's grumpy now, but you wouldn't hardly believe he did that now. But I'm just saying, it was very sweet, very sweet.
And then this is the last one. Throughout this book, she has different pledges that she has the women that she works with say, I guess little mantras, or I don't know, whatever you would call them. But the feminine energy pledge: I promise to serve my own womanhood by leading the man in my life towards a higher level of spirituality by requiring him to love me before he makes love to me, to serve my feelings before he asks me to serve his thinking, and to allow me to set the spiritual standard in both our sexual affairs for the benefit of us both.
I don't believe in all that.
I get that. I
It,
get that.
it
She
was a
says it
little bit
so
of both.
right. She's real flowery with her words, but
Mm-hmm.
I see where she's going. I see where she's going with that. Yeah.
Yeah. We can flow with that one.
Yeah, I can flow with that.
Except for the
She could flow
homosexuality.
with could have said it much more. She could have said it much more
She sure
simply.
could have, because she said much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, if you end up having sex before, I don't think that ruins it either. That's
No.
just me.
No,
That's
that
just
she
me.
didn't say that. That wasn't what Melissa just said. She said something about setting the tone.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can read it again. I promise to serve my own womanhood before leading the man in my life towards a higher spirit. I promise to serve my own womanhood by leading the man in my life towards a higher level of spirituality, by requiring him to love me before he makes love to me, to serve my feelings before he asks me to serve his thinking, and to allow me to set the spiritual standard in our sexual affairs for the benefit of us both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean the whole thing
The most deflated, okay.
yeah, no, I get it because I mean because I'm saying we people don't always follow, but the whole thing about love before having sex. I
Yes.
mean, I get that. I get people don't always do it,
No, we
but
don't.
I know that whether you're looking at it in the religious biblical sense or just out here on these streets,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't wait and then they get what they want and they move on, it can really be heartbreak for a woman,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if you're having sex with someone you don't love and they don't love you, or you're what is that they always say, um women give sex to get love, men give love to get sex, I think. Yeah, in other words, women have sex too early because they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
get a man to love them,
Mm-hmm.
and men say they love women too early when really
Mm-hmm.
all they're trying to do is get in somebody's pants.
That's right.
Mm,
Yeah.
That's right.
that makes sense. And I know little spoiler, but later on in the book, something that she mentions is the fact that in a man's mind, if you're man enough to have sex without commitment, then you're man enough to handle the consequences of it too.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily man enough to handle the consequences.
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
According to the book, that's what she was saying, that in a man's mind, if you're man enough to step to him and want to have sex without commitment, then you're man enough to handle the consequences too.
I wouldn't use the word man enough.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
like,
then that
they
because
like
that
to
then
make
makes
women
it
feel like they're gonna be men
no,
if they
but
don't
it
do what
also
she
makes
said.
it seem like all men are like that. All men aren't like that. I think to me the word I would use is if you're bold enough
Mm-hmm.
to step to somebody and want to have sex without marriage or love or any kind of commitment, then you need to be bold enough to strong, but maybe not bold. But in other words, I get what she's saying. I just don't like to use the word man because
Yeah.
not all men are out here acting like that.
Like
Yes.
Alan
Wanting
said, like Alan saying,
And,
you have to be equally yoked.
yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And not all men are responsible.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess just speaking for myself, I know waiting till marriage is something that I want. So it makes me,
And that's great.
yeah.
Mhm.
I just know the way my heart's set up, it's not for me. I went to, the people that I've met and stuff in college, I got to see from them what the hookup culture is.
Mhm.
And, I want no parts of that. So
Well, I
That's
would
true, but
say
at your
if you
age,
wait,
it's
but I would
true, but
say
at your age, Mimi, you may need to get married in 6 months.
no, and see, that's the exact opposite of what I was getting ready to say, Judy. I
What?
was going to say, and if you
Okay,
do want to wait, if you want to wait for marriage, then you need to take, I think she needs to take her time because
Mhm.
you don't want to hook up with the
no,
man.
I
Hook
need
up with
she the right guy because that's gonna be very hard.
right.
She might.
No, well, here's the thing. Okay, never mind. I'm getting, never mind.
What? This the thing.
I heard
This
it.
the thing. Say the
No,
thing.
I was just gonna say she just if if you want to wait to marriage, you need to take your time and be very careful in selecting. And I think it might even take more than a year of dating
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
find of dating that guy to make sure he's the right one. So that way you're making sure that this man is not proposing and marrying you just because
Just.
he's anxious to have sex with you, as
Mhm.
opposed to that he really wants to build a
Mhm.
you.
Mm.
Yes.
But also, if
But
you wait, if a man is waiting to have sex with you for a year, he might be having sex with somebody else out
that's
there
the truth.
while while he cherishes you. He might be out there having sex with somebody. So just keep that in mind too.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. But
Thank
you have to date. You have to
Yeah.
date people to, to figure out what it is that you want, things that you like. So a lot of you reading the book is one thing, but you being out there in it is totally
Yep.
different.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
totally different. And there's things that a book can't prepare you for when you're
Yeah.
out there and you're dating.
you.
So there are, and you're gonna encounter different people that Miss Thang don't even know about, and you need to, and you don't know how you're going to react when you're in a situation. You're in certain positions, and you just don't know how you are going to react. Now, there are times where you think that you could say yes, I want to wait and this whatever, but sometimes there are times when like this other thing come over you and things just happen. It don't go that way.
Yeah.
Then what?
Well, I don't think you have to say, well, we didn't wait and we had sex, and so I can't date
Mhm.
you anymore because we've tainted the relationship. Then you just keep dating.
Yes, you
And
just keep
and
dating.
just keep dating and keep loving him. And if it
Mhm.
works out, it works out.
And
But
if
I
it doesn't, it doesn't.
drive. I think people are thinking about when people are much younger. Like it's easier to stay celibate if you are like 18 years old, 19 years,
Mhm.
16 years old, 17 years old. But when you're like a 25-year-old woman, you know what I mean? Sometimes it'd be like you jumping him. I'm just saying.
Listen, according to y'all, something be coming over you. Life alert. I'm like, get me out of here.
It does. It does. There's a reason why. There's a reason why hormones propel you forward. I mean,
Yes.
and I don't want you thinking, well, gosh, and I don't want that to be, oh my gosh, let's talk about this and let's pray and you know, I had this one little couple that were like they had sex and they had sex, so they opened the Bible and read it together. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you need to have protection because that's one thing. Also, you could say, okay, I don't want to have sex until this time and that time. But if you're starting to date somebody, you do need to be on birth control because you can feel like having all the good thoughts in the world, and then suddenly y'all ain't got no protection, and suddenly there's a baby. I'm just saying, you have the good thoughts, but also need to be ready because in terms of birth control, because if you do, suddenly the feelings come over you and y'all are having sex. You also don't want to talk it to death either. Well, what does it mean that we've now had sex and we want
what does this mean? Yes.
and let that ruin the relationship. And he's like, Dang, I didn't know it was gonna be all this. We're gonna talk it to death. You know what I mean? If you could talk about what you hope, but if you end up having sex, don't sit around and talk about it to death.
Yes.
Just move forward.
Because I had when I was in college, it was one of the girls who lived in the dorm with me. She was from St. Thomas or St. Croix, but her family was very, very religious, and the my dorm that I was in, because my mom knew that I was a wild child. I told you it was run by nuns, so it was run by nuns. So
them nuns seen it all though. Them nuns seen it all.
Oh yes, oh yeah, but they weren't ready for this little Southern girl from Georgia. They weren't ready, but she was, and so it was this guy who went to school with us, and she really liked him. He liked her. They started dating or whatever, but she was a virgin, and her thing was she wanted to stay a virgin till she got married. But when she started dating him, I don't know the dynamics of everything, but she ended up pregnant. But she was like, we have to get married. We have to get married. And so they did. They went downtown LA and got married before, while she was pregnant. She wasn't showing or whatever. But you know what? And I want to say they probably dated for maybe a year before they got married or whatever. But after they got married or whatever, they broke up. They got a divorce. Wow. And it was just like, and she was like devastated because to her that was her first love, because that was the only love she ever had. And so I think she just gave so much to it, and she put so much into it, and she just felt like she had to be married and having a baby, and because she had sex, she had to be married now, So I just think that Leela said this was fun. She had to go, but I just think that that what the author was saying about, what was that? What was the last part of that again that brought that conversation up? See, I'm acting like you now.
Oh, that if you're the whole having sex without commitment thing? Like,
yes.
If you're man enough to have sex without commitment, then you're man enough to handle the consequences.
Right. And that's what I was saying. I don't think that all men will handle the consequences. Yeah, that's good to say, but a lot of times it's on the female. Women are the relievers. You are going to feel completely different afterwards. Exactly. He is going to feel satisfied and you will feel a whole nother way. That is very true. That is very true.
And I feel like, and I know we've been on here for a while, so thank you guys for keeping with us the entire time. And I feel like one thing that I will mention is that
oh my goodness, that is so true, Al.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that for a fact. I mean, I don't know if I've talked to enough people to know that, but I could see how that could be a case, though. I just know that let me think about this. Yeah, I just know how my heart is set up. I just know how
Yeah.
my heart is set up, and that would be playing with fire. That would be
Yes.
playing with fire. So I know myself well enough to know. I let my mama tell it. Touch bring feelings. She been telling me that forever.
Yes.
So yeah. I mean, but that's the reason why I'm bringing it here to all of these women who will
Yes.
truth, and who will help, guide me and everything. And, don't be surprised. You know what I'm saying? Bring somebody on here and be like, what you think? You think?
Yes. Yeah. Bring them on here. You have all these aunties. They gonna be like, no.
Thank you guys again so much for your time. Something really cool about this is, this is something that I'm navigating currently, and I'm appreciating the fact that all my aunties on here are willing to give me the real and willing to help, steer me in the right direction. And also take in a really interesting book with me. And I'm looking forward. I mean, this book maybe we have what, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 more weeks of this book.
Mhm.
And then afterwards, I'm very much looking forward to the next one because, this one is written by a Black woman.
Yes.
So, we won't necessarily be trying to jump from the 80s to 2023 and then
Thank
also
you.
break the color binary at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes.
We won't be here playing Tetris trying to get the answers.
Yes. And Judy said, throw that book away. No.
Throw the whole phone away.
That is good. Yes.
Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you so much, Miss Juani, for your time and for as I explore this book and get your opinions as well as everybody else's. That way I can, get a holistic experience of this. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I thank you for wanting to spend your Thursday evening with this middle-aged lady. I really, it's fun. I really look forward to Thursdays.
I call it vintage, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm
Like
vintage now?
like a bottle of fine wine.
Oh, okay. I'll take that. I'll take that.
And thanks you to everyone who stayed with us throughout this. I really appreciate it. And all of the funny comments. Miss Al, you're hilarious. Miss
Miss
Von
Al
Dessa,
is hilarious.
hilarious.
Ron
Aunt Judy,
Jester,
hilarious. Aunt Lila, you are hilarious.
love them.
You as well. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Al said her and her mama enjoyed this tonight. Thank you so much.
Some of these comments from Mama.
Yeah. Aunt Judy said we're seasoned. That's right, Aunt Judy.
There we go, marinated too.
Yes. All right, guys. Good night. Thank you for coming. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Good night.
Bye.